just makes it easier for him to line up the audio. So.
All right, boys, let's do this.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 6 of Art of Truth podcast. We've got a very special guest, Mr. Sean King, with us here today. Sean actually tattoos at Black Brush Studio with me, and we've been wanting to have him on for a while. So welcome, Sean King.
Good to be here.
It's been probably another month since we've been able to do a podcast. I've done a million things. What have you been up to?
It's been 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I've been staying busy. It's been hot as fuck, dude. So I've been floating the river, hanging out on the river.
I saw pictures of that.
Lost my phone on the river.
Burning
lost
your tattoos
my Bose fucking sound dock. Well, Bose badass wireless motherfucking rechargeable speaker on the river. Lost my Ray-Bans on the river.
How? What, did you crash?
Floating with my mom.
The horrible tube crash incident.
Well, I got into a fight with this fucking tree, and the tree won.
Right, jumped out of nowhere.
The tree has whooped everybody's ass for years. This tree is a dominant figure piece in the River Bend part of the Mackenzie River, which is right where River Bend Hospital is. Mm-hmm. And the river bends. Go figure. So anyways, me and my brother, we floated on Thursday, 4 days before me and my mom floated. And so this was a week and a half ago Thursday, because it's Tuesday now. And we had a great time, man. My brother came down from Portland. We just fucking hit it. And we smashed. We did our thing. I got a badass little cooler that floats in the tube next to my tube that I've linked up.
Nice. Mm-hmm. So when we came in, you were mentioning that you had a new phone, and you said there was a little bit of a story about that. So somehow this ties into that.
Yeah. So my phone sunk. Like I had just like fucking.
This was the 7 Plus.
7S Plus, 256 gig, life-proof case with the fucking liquid glass coating on the stuff that makes it bulletproof and shit. Yeah. So I had a lot invested in this fucking.
I would generally be like, why would you need a bulletproof phone? But then I'm like, oh.
Word, bro. You never know what's coming at you, dude. Yeah, and that motherfucker might have saved my life.
Some sort of flotation app.
Somewhere on my body, I have a tiny shield that you might hit.
Yeah, well, I usually keep it close to my junk.
Right.
You know, and it is a nice motherfucker.
That would be amazing. Imagine if fucking that's what happened. Like, you got shot in that bulletproof fucking case. Oh. You better be the fucking poster boy.
I would
for
be
Apple
an iPhone
that.
rep for the rest of my life. Even if they are spying on me, which they are spying on me.
I could see the ad. You're about like, bulletproof case. I'm alive.
I had 2 huge examples of this phone spying yesterday that were.
Oh, we've been talking a lot about that.
5 minutes within mentioning something out loud, immediately got YouTube videos, oddly enough.
I like that stuff sometimes. Most of the time, no.
No, it can be cool when you're looking to buy a new car or whatever and shit, but I think it is weird how, like, we'll be just talking about, man, I haven't had Wendy's in a long time, and then boom, Wendy's ad pops up. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, yeah.
It's like, and I think anybody that, before you got here, Sean and I started talking about conspiracies, and I was like, let's wait for the podcast, but
Which I appreciate.
Anybody that thinks that that's not happening is out of their mind, because it's fucking definitely happening.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a 5-minute window. I was describing to Natty and Laura about the one-armed MMA fighter, Nick Newell.
I'm unaware of this.
One arm MMA fighter. Can you get a little bit closer to or just holler? Just
yes.
There we go.
This is a professional fighter.
Yes. He was born. It was born. It wasn't amputated after. Okay. He was born with it. But yeah, he's about to right there. About halfway down his forearm, and he's an extremely successful fighter. He's 14-1, and his only loss was to Justin Gaethje, which, Justin Gaethje is an absolute monster.
It was a legit defeat.
So I was just describing him and never even mentioned him by name because I don't think they would have cared about his name. I was just describing that, he was able to do these things with what someone would consider a handicap or a setback, and he was actually dominant at it. And it wasn't 5 minutes later, opened up the tablet, went to watch my normal YouTube videos, and the first thing that popped up was the Nick Newell controversy. Nice. And was basically just in regards to, is it safe to let this guy fight? And if you ever were to take a really severe beating, whose fault is that? And that sort of thing. But I thought that was it was 5 minutes. And then previously, we were discussing comedians in the 70s, 80s, 90s, that sort of thing, and I brought up Stephen Wright and Mitch Hedberg.
Right.
And within 10 or 15 minutes on my YouTube channel was Mitch Hedberg versus Stephen Wright in like a one-liner off.
Right.
And and I know you and I have seen this 1,000 times. And I mean, I'm thoroughly convinced at this point.
Well,
that
Apple and stuff. I mean, because we all have iPhones, right?
Yes.
So they're like, we know what you want. Just it's cool.
Yeah.
We got you. We got what you want.
Part of me is like shitty about it, but then part of me is like, that's fucking super convenient. You know what I mean?
Homie, that's what I'm saying. That's why, and the majority of people aren't taking it to the level of thought that we are. So when it happens, we're not like, oh my God, that's not just a coincidence. There's technology that's going on into observing what I'm doing, saying,
Right.
conversing about, and then targeting me with marketing. And a lot of times people, because we are such a consumer-based society, if not populace across the globe, we're like, cool, dude, that's what I was doing anyway. That's what I'm on that's on my page. You're helping me just live my life, because you're trying to consume.
Right.
But for us, we're trying to be kind of conscious of this fact that we are consuming way too much shit.
Yeah.
And I think taping up your microphone and your camera and all that's great. You'd still get advertised too, though. It just might be dish soap or tires. Who knows? I mean, it's
They'll just be selling you more tape. Heard you like tape, bro.
yeah, that's the most opaque tape on the market.
Well, me and Joshua, we both were talking about, we have my old school MacBook Pro or whatever. The only thing I do on there, the only fucking thing, is watch porn. And because it's perfect, it sits on my lap, right? I can spread my legs and everything's it's the perfect fucking setup.
You know
what I'm saying?
Set the table.
Exactly. So, but I do have exactly. So, all I have is a little piece of fucking like electrical tape right over the camera. You know what I'm saying? But with my iPhone, I don't have that, man. And I post my phone up while I'm taking a shower. I don't take any dick pics. I'm just listening to music and shit, because it perfectly have a little shelf right at the edge of my shower, and I'm like, man, if anybody wants to tune in on me, free show, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, government.
It's funny you say that because I recently put a sauna in my house, and when I get out of it, I'm naked, and
nice.
There's a window upstairs, and I'm always like, well, fuck it. At least I look good now.
I know, right?
I mean, like, fucking, if you're trying that hard to see through my window, fucking, here you go.
Well, and that's the thing for guys. Like, you get to the point where you almost feel like wanting to do some of those Magic Mike impressions and shit. I love that Louis C.K.
I wonder if I can hang this towel.
I love that Louis C.K. 2017 fucking skit where he's talking about impersonating McConaughey.
Oh yeah.
He's like, man, I've been obsessed. So I find you really are into a movie when you find yourself doing scenes from that movie over and over and over throughout your day. And he does that one where I guess he impersonates McConaughey coming out on the stage, and because McConaughey is like the head male stripper, and he leads the show.
What was that? What was that movie called again? I forgot.
Magic Mike.
Magic Mike. Yeah.
Yeah. With Channing
like
Tatum.
I didn't watch it before I started.
I know, right? Like I don't know exactly how many times Channing gets stripped down. So McConaughey comes out and he goes, he's like talking to the ladies and, hey ladies, or what's he say? It's like, law says you can't touch, but I think I see a lot of lawbreakers out there tonight. He just practices it. Law says you can't touch, but I think I see a lot of lawbreakers out there tonight.
I like how McConaughey's like, no matter what movie it is, he's like, this seems like a good time to whip my shirt off.
Dude, pop that shirt off, dog. You got he's
well,
cut.
This is the church. Yeah, this is a good time to whip my shirt off.
I know, dude.
I like how he was in True Detective.
Yeah, True Detective.
That's about it. The Dragon movie was all right.
And he killed it in True Detective, dog.
Yeah.
I loved it because I can empathize with that part so well. That motherfucker, he's so like cynical and just but he has seen and experienced so much crazy shit like I did when I was younger and stuff. I was in intense situations and circles for a long time, and I knew and hung out with a bunch of crazy ass dudes. And so, and we did a lot of crazy drugs, and we'd stay up, days on end, and we would just, and that's why we didn't know. I didn't know if I was going to make it to 21. So when you come out of that and you rebound, and then you start like, your brain starts firing and you're doing shit and you're trying to like, comprehend how to live life and function as a normal human, but you just realize you're like an outsider. You know what I'm saying? You don't see the things that normal people see, and you start breaking down. You just look at religion like this horrible fucking system of controls that is dominating and enslaving. You know, blah 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 blah, and you look like an asshole when you try to talk to people in society and shit. But I loved how he gets so raw, and he goes right into that fucking element when he has to go fucking to get into the biker gang stuff, to be able to try to link up with the dudes to get the meth supply, to find out where those motherfuckers are, because that's the only way he can get into them, because they're so, you know, deep, dark, hidden away out in the boondocks and doing the dark arts. Well, he keeps it real, dude. That one scene is one of the most intense scenes of all time. They shot that entire scene where he goes to the ghetto and robs those motherfuckers when they're dressed up like cops to prove to the biker gang that he's ready to get down, so they'll do him a favor.
That's my favorite part of the whole series.
That scene is one continuous scene.
Yeah.
There's no cut.
That's beautifully
shot. They fucking run with a camera and did that all in. Dude, how many times he fucking rocks that fucking ginger dude and just like throwing him around, motherfucking dodging bullets from other dudes, socking up the black guys trying to come fuck him up because they're in his hood and he's fucking their shit up. You know what I'm saying? The cops all around, helicopters. He's calling Marty. Marty, get your ass over here. Be here in 90 seconds flat, motherfucker. You know, jumping over the fence, gets in. Out. I'm like, well done, guys. What's
weird to me is that, and I probably didn't give the second one enough of a chance, but the first one was excellent.
The best series. The best.
I absolutely loved it.
The best one season series, I think, of all time. Yeah. It's my favorite 8 to 10 episodes of any one thing. Sure. It could stand alone because the second season wasn't the same thing.
I couldn't finish the second season. My wife, once she starts, even if it's bad, she has to finish it. Yeah. But it never really took off.
I liked it. I didn't like it as much as the first season, but I thought it was definitely a lot more complicated, a lot more character, a lot more plot, a lot more to the point of too much. I think
I should the second season. It was West Coast. I mean, that was an LA based thing. You know, yeah. That was cool because they kind of did tell us a true story of corruption and stuff that happened, but it had nothing like the spiritual element, the Carcosa, and the fucking.
It didn't have the artsy element that the first one was artistic.
That's what
was beautiful. The cinematography, all the shots. Artistic. This was a lot grittier, more your average crime story kind of.
Cinematography. The first one is so amazing and unique. It's going to go probably down as the best true crime thing of all time. It's perfectly acted. I can watch that twice a year. And the second one, I've watched it twice ever since.
I need to give it another shot. Speaking of one long action, because I'm a sucker for beautiful cinematography, Children of Men.
Yeah.
Man,
that's the other scene. That scene.
Oh my
so
gosh.
Those are the two scenes when they're running through the ghetto there and they're being attacked. Those two are the most intense. So if you like cinematography, you got to get down on Penny Dreadful. You have.
Oh no, I started watching it. Yeah.
Bro.
No. Nikki she started again.
Yes.
We got a TV in our room, and she started again. And I went in there, and I was starting to fall asleep, and I was like, "This is pretty cool." So we started it over. She had it like, I think Dr. Frankenstein had just made the first one. I was like,
first episode,
the whole thing
will hook you. Dog.
Yeah,
get through that first episode.
I started it, I got into it, and I bailed.
No, it's good.
It's the best,
really, really good
horror or dark, like a macabre type genre.
It looks like a film. It's filmed incredibly well. It's really good acting,
dude. Timothy Dalton, that Eva Green chick, Josh Hartnett. The dude who does play Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein, and the guy, Reeve Carney, who plays Dorian Gray, he's also a musician. So he's a multi-talented dude.
Right.
But he does such a good job as Dorian Gray.
Yeah.
And then they continue this theme. When you get to season 3, and season 3 is my favorite season out of that I can watch season 3 just like I can watch the first season of True Detective all by itself, all the way through. It's so fucking good, dude. They get into Native American shit. That's where the Wolfman stuff comes from. They get into, the Apaches, and they also bring up, Apache tribes and all their fucking connections.
Is it only 3 seasons?
It's only 3
seasons, right? Yeah.
They cut it off, and when you get to the end, then we'll talk, because you're gonna be like, you'll have something to say, and I'll have something to say.
Yeah, because Nikki says she thinks it's done, but you mentioned you think that you got.
They left it. totally left it in a position where they can continue.
They could come back because it was a hit, right?
Dog.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
I'm getting a
really
motherfucking Wolfman tattoo from that fucking movie, dog.
good. Nice.
That's kind of the way of things, though. I think a lot of these series or events will leave an opening for, hey, Netflix.
Yeah.
Well,
Netflix picked them up. That's one of the
yeah.
only. That's how good Penny Dreadful is. It's Showtime, but it's the best. I think, in my opinion, is by far the best series that Showtime ever did because their production is as good or better than HBO stuff. Like, you know, with all that, I mean, it's movie quality. It blows my fucking mind.
Once to me, like Game of Thrones kind of set the standard. I mean, I guess Sopranos was even like that, but
Yeah.
once you set the pace of this looks like a film.
Well, when it's fantasy shit mixed in, because it wasn't hard to do.
Sure.
Sopranos.
Yeah,
It wasn't hard when they were tried to fuck with Rome. That's when it got expensive. But then Game
Yeah.
of Thrones technology. Now we at the apex of good technology,
Right.
great horror stories, good writers, amazing actors, and so this culmination comes through. So you don't. I mean, my favorite scary movie of all time, and the main motherfucking tattoo I've been waiting for years. We've talked about is Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ, could you have a better fucking like Dracula? Gary, who could ever do a better job?
Sure.
Than Gary Oldman in that role, man. He played like 7 different savage fucking monsters in that movie, and it's just unbelievable how
and
well
for
he acted.
when it was for the time, it was way ahead. It holds up today.
I love that movie. I watch that movie every year.
Yeah.
You know, God, if he didn't turn fucking John Wick into the biggest little bitch,
Right.
that should show you
John
how
Wick.
badass Gary Oldman is, because he punked motherfucking John Wick before John Wick was even John Wick.
You don't even know
what
you're
I'm
John
saying?
Wick yet.
He turned that guy. His hair went gray.
I was just happy to see Tom Waits.
And
Oh yeah, that was fucking perfect
dude,
for Tom Waits actually. The bug.
well, we had who else was in that? Carrie Hughes or whatever, the dude who played Robin Hood Men in Tights. I love. He plays Quincy. Or
Winona Ryder.
Yeah, Winona Ryder. Oh my God, sexy Winona. And that love story, to me, I mean, people laugh at me when I say that's my favorite love story of all time. Sure. So, like, to me, that's my Notebook, because
Shenanigans.
they literally went. He was so pissed. His motherfucking woman, who he loved beyond anything in the world, in the universe, beyond his God that he just killed all these motherfuckers for.
Right.
He loved his woman, and when the Turks sent the arrow in there and they fucking talking false news of his death, and she commits suicide, and those priests tell him her soul's damned, you're never going to see her again, you know, she ain't going to heaven, she's damned. And he's just like, oh fuck. And the Dracula emerges, that energy, that splitting of his soul when he realized he wasn't going to be with his love anymore, is what created that monster. It was the loss of love. So he holds that and shines darkness for centuries until he finds that again. And then when he sees that picture of her, dude, he's just like, you know, and he literally, and it's just like, you can tell his whole shit shifts.
Yep.
And then he goes, all right, time to get the Mac on. And he shows up all dapper, fucking pimp, like blue velvet, all, you know, like, God damn, dog, purple Lokes. Woo!
I don't think I could ever decide on a form to go with for any amount of time myself. I think I would have to.
You'd be like, why did I go with fedora guy?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Dude, Samuel L. Jackson has that motherfucking Kangol, dog. You know, that's timeless.
That would be my persona if I could change it. It was just.
Hey, I'm here for everything.
So on that tip, I've been watching Penny Dreadful this last week. So I've been on this horror novel or this horror movie tip, which I actually want to holler at you about, because I was going to be like, all right, I'm going to really convince Joshua to get down on some Penny Dreadful.
Yep.
Because it's
sold.
good.
I'm sold.
And that season 3, when you get to that, you're gonna be like, I mean, season 2 is epic because they get into this realm of witchcraft and they tie it all together. So each season builds on it,
right?
Until you get to the end where you're just like, wow, dude, how you tie all these monsters together, and then you get the Jekyll and Hyde, you know, and on top of all these, I mean, it is really the culmination of all these awesome genres, perfectly acted. And so well done. And that's kind of why they decided not to do a season 4, was they were like, dude, it's just what Eva Green did in the series. I mean, she acts so intensely that I'm like, I feel her. I would be done too. I would be done.
Yeah, I definitely would rather that a show realizes where it's at and stops if it needs to. Like, I saw an advertisement yesterday for, I don't know if you ever watched Sons of Anarchy, either one of you, but do you see the new spinoff?
No.
It's the Mayans. It's the Mexican gang.
Oh, yeah?
So it's like their side of the story. I think it's even at the same time. It might be like after Sons of Anarchy stopped. It does look pretty good, but it also kind of looks like they're reaching. So I'm gonna give it a shot. But like, I like Walking Dead, but I hate Fear the Walking Dead. You know what I mean?
I never got into any of that. Like, I tried to do Walking Dead. I never like really.
The quality has dropped substantially
Yeah, like it was
on that. That was cinematic at first,
it was really good in the beginning, and then it just kind of dropped. And then to me, it got to where they were dragging shit out. I don't know if they're trying to copy the comic book, but I mean,
dude, they
it
make
was
so
like
much money per episode.
Sure,
and that's
yeah.
why I can't do FX shit. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Right.
And there's been very few other.
Archer.
Archer's the shit too, Doc.
Yeah.
You right? You know what I'm saying? Lana, fucking Pam. I mean, Pam's my bitch, dude. She's, especially when she goes all coked out and she slims up like a minx, you know what I'm saying? She just starts pounding kilos to the face. I do love me some motherfucking Archer. There is no joke, but that shit is hardcore.
Sean's been trying to get me to watch Archer since the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, as long as you're doing South Park.
Oh, I do South Park.
That's good.
I can. It's Always Sunny's one of my all-time favorites.
I don't even know if that show is still on or not.
It's Always Sunny.
It's on.
It's on. Oh yeah, they're killing it. This newest season is the best one yet.
I watched a show with Dennis, a different show.
Yeah.
Show or
No, he's
something
playing
with
some
Dennis,
teacher
or something.
Dennis is the fucking best.
Yeah, I think he shined as that series went on. I think he was the unlikable one at first.
It's still going, bro.
Do you remember
See, I didn't know.
we talked about where Dennis is like taking women out on a cruise ship or on the ocean because of
his implication.
implications. He's like
International waters.
Because of the implication.
implications.
I feel like
He's
Or
a
the
serial killer.
the Dennis system.
I feel like you're gonna hurt these women.
right.
No. I'm not gonna hurt these women. You're not getting it. We're not gonna hurt the women, but they don't want to feel. They're not gonna feel safe because of the implication. Dude, he's the worst. He has multiple. He's the worst. That's why I love Always
Dennis
Sunny.
system.
Dennis is the worst, and so the Dennis system, that whole episode that he does, which is just atrocious, how he brainwashes chicks into loving him, but he does that to the actress in that is his wife. So the woman who he Dennis systems is his wife in real life, and that's why I love that show. Because he fucks her over so bad, and that's his dime, dude. That is his real life, like, you know, fucking love. And they're a power couple. She's gorgeous, and the fact that they each major actor on that show has their spouse on that show.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually.
Except for Frank, except for Danny DeVito, because how you gonna get Rita Perlman
Right.
on that motherfucker?
That would be pretty cool, though.
Oh, I'm waiting for it.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for it. But this last season was so fucking good. Mac came out of the closet.
Oh shit!
Spoiler alert. Yeah, dog. Have you not seen it?
I thought that
Oh, with the
already
ass
happened.
pound, dude.
No, I mean it's pretty obvious, right?
Yeah. Well, I have Hulu, so that's
Okay.
why I have Hulu is for South Park and for fucking It's Always Sunny, because I can't live without those shows. I watch them like I watch Seinfeld. You know what I'm saying? Now, right now, I'm rewatching Scrubs because
I think that holds up too.
it does hold up.
I think
a good one.
I remember just going through Scrubs, just like starting at the beginning and just powering through it. And
That was a show that I was like, well, there's nothing else on, and then I'd watch an episode and be like, this isn't so bad. I should watch it.
I think you
more.
just got to get used to the
And then
humor.
repeated
Like,
that again.
you know, a lot of people can't get into certain shows. Like Trailer Park Boys is a good one. Like the first time I tried to watch it, I was like, I don't get it. I don't think it's funny. And then once I got the humor, very funny. But you got to like get into it. You know what I mean?
I call my dog Bubbles.
Yeah.
He's got got a Boston Terrier with these big fucking googly eyes and these bubbles or bubs. But yeah, I'm fucking Ricky's one of the funniest characters of all time, dude. Fucking stealing
really
Bubbles
liked
as kittens.
J-Rock's evolution in the show.
Yeah. See,
Really
you pointed that out to me. Like J-Rock, kind of like how South Park became about one character. J-Rock is kind of it's the same thing. He became.
I haven't watched any of like the last 5 seasons, so I've only seen like the first.
You've missed the
6 seasons or
metamorphosis.
so.
You haven't gotten to the
Okay.
metamorphosis.
No, he was growing. He was like getting popular.
too many know what I'm
He was,
saying,
like,
son.
It was like he was starting to like get some shine. And
No, I'm
stuff.
saying.
Each
Don't suck your
season-
teeth at me.
I ain't got no candy for you. Each season he has kind of a different flavor, and the last season he was on, he's no longer on the show. The last one he was on was not my favorite one, but a couple of seasons before that, it was just he stole the season. I mean, he was the star of the show for that. It was
So, Mr. King,
Yes.
I got a couple questions for you. Let's go some MMA talk real quick.
Okay.
Because what are you thinking about John Jones coming back? There's been a lot of talk that he's spent some time already. It's been a year since he's been out, and I think that they're gonna fucking bring him back in some capacity.
I think he'll come back and dominate everyone he steps up against, whether he tests positive or not.
That was such a lame question. I'm sorry for posing it like that, but I mean, like, I'm just I want people to know your opinion.
I think that he's unique in his abilities. I don't think anyone's close to him that's near his weight or
Right.
would even be a reasonable fight for him
Right.
at this moment.
Right.
And then
I bet he's pissed off.
and if they're bringing Brock Lesnar back in, there's no way that guy's not
though?
pissing hot. It's the money will win out over USADA.
Could you imagine
every
a
time.
super fight between those two?
Last I heard Jones, he was talking about trying to make that happen.
Dude, that would be one of
I'd
those
like to see-
McGregor type fucking.
I'd like to see Cormier and Lesnar. Honestly, I would love
think
to see it.
That's going to be the next one, but DC.
Stipe and Lesnar. I would,
DC. Well, I don't know if Joshua knows. DC just beat Stipe Miocic, who had the heavyweight, or is he
he was the longest defending.
just heavyweight?
He defended.
Right?
Yes, he defended the
He's
heavyweight.
not super
belt.
heavyweight. He's just
No,
heavyweight.
I don't even think UFC has. Super
Okay,
heavyweight.
so he's the highest weight class.
Yes.
And DC Daniel Cormier had the weight belt below that, light heavyweight, right?
205.
205, yeah. Which he's a big boy. He walks around 240 probably. I mean, he's
240, yeah.
fucking stout, dude. Huge torso. He was a
High-level
Olympic
wrestler,
level wrestler. And the only times he's lost was against John Jones. But John Jones has always been goddamn juiced up. John Jones has never had any longevity for peeing clean. And there's always been controversy around this motherfucker.
Is that why? Like, why is he been gone? You're saying he's been gone for like a year?
Yeah, he's been gone for
been
a
on
year.
suspension.
'Cause he's
okay.
been suspended for his like third fucking failed UA.
And also, he dominated Daniel Cormier. It was
I remember
not,
you talking about
it
him all
was
the
not
time. Like it didn't
close.
seem like they didn't know. What
No,
to
they
do.
had such beef. Those are the two guys who also threw down in a fucking press conference pre-fight, like all in suits and shit, and
That seemed real. That didn't seem
no,
like
they
a
threw
fight
down.
seller.
That was
seemed,
a legit.
That seemed,
fuck you, asshole. No, fuck you, motherfucker. I can't stand you, and it's happening. And that's mostly because Jones is just a wild man. The motherfucker cannot handle like fame.
He's
He
young. He's. I mean, if
He's impulsive. That's his problem. And he has obviously substance abuse issues. He has discipline issues. The guy either doesn't train right, or he gets busted for taking a substance he shouldn't have taken, or whatever it is. So he just has these issues. He can't fucking sustain any type of like legit competitive domination without any controversy.
he seems distracted by the life, as opposed to just
Is he getting paid like? I mean, is it millions?
He was getting
yeah.
paid tons, and he was endorsed like a Minx and all this stuff. But
he's done very well. I mean,
his attitude is shit, and that's I can't support my boy Sean over there has always been like seemed like a fan of Jones, or at
Big
least
time,
his
yeah.
ability to fight, and I understand that too because he is a dominant motherfucker as a fighter, but as a human, he's a goddamn loser. And so I can't be on his train. And I love DC, Daniel Cormier, because as a human, the guy's a fucking winner, man. And that's what matters to me, even though he might got his ass whooped by John Jones, twice, which he did. I like him as a person. You know what I'm saying? Right. And he's not that much less of a good fighter or whatever. That I just love the guy.
He's he currently holds the heavyweight and light heavyweight
So yeah, he
belts.
beat Stipe Miocic. DC did Daniel Cormier, who couldn't beat John. He never beat John Jones at light heavyweight. He beat Daniel Cormier, went up and took out the heavyweight motherfucking champ.
Okay, so then when you guys are saying that Jones might come back, so what they're just talking about like
the UFC wants him back really bad because they need a money maker. They need somebody a high profile fucking person to come in and help them make some money on some cards because the corporation that bought the UFC paid $4.4 billion, and they've got all these fucking endorsements going on. They have the TV contracts that are worth billions of dollars, and they have to fulfill these rights plus get these pay-per-view buys. So they need these guys to be like big ticket motherfucking fighters, and that's where you get the WWE crossover. You get these. They're trying to just make shit happen.
This has been my problem because it's almost lately rankings have been tossed out the window, and the money fight's going to happen. The guy that kept his mouth shut and earned his way to that title shot's not getting it because the loudmouth that didn't earn anything.
It's like the Flash
is making a hyped up scenario so people want to see the fight. And I got to say, it's as a true fan, it's a little bit sad to see. I mean, of course, who doesn't enjoy seeing a loudmouth get shut up? But at the same time, I don't know if I like that more than that kid that worked his ass off to get there.
I don't.
And can't get a break because he chose not to act like a clown public.
I like the badass, quiet motherfuckers. You know, the dudes that put in work and then just come to show up to whoop some ass, but they keep it quiet. You know, they're humble, and then they let their fists and their feet and their chokes do the talking.
That was one of my favorite things about Aldo. When during his supreme reign, even Fedor.
Oh yeah, Fedor's the king of it.
Yeah,
Fedor. I mean, but you're just talking about a manimal. You know what I mean? You're talking about a fucking part Sasquatch.
I can think of 3 times I've ever heard him speak.
That's what I'm saying. But the guy, his brother is a goddamn savage murderer. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they're the most articulate cats in the world.
He's fighting now.
His brother,
he's back. Alexander is back, and he's tearing through people.
He's killing people. Well, the guy's got experience. Yeah, I don't know what happened to the fucking dude. Who's that? What was that guy's name? Who was a WWE fighter who came into the UFC who fought just a couple months ago? But CM Punk. Did he win that fight against a guy who?
That was a wrestler, right?
He was a pro wrestler that he was brought into MMA and just was absolutely wiped out immediately, and decided that he wanted to try it again. Dana White's publicly said, "This kid has heart. I love to see that. He just wants to fight, but he just did not have the skills to hold up, and he was basically just
a punching bag. Right?
Took a beating twice, and I mean to the point Dana had to just say, thanks for trying.
Yeah, dude.
It's not for you."
I think that shows just like how well they fight, though, because wasn't there like a YouTube sensation fighter guy that?
Yeah, Kimbo Slice.
Kimbo Slice. He's dead now, I believe, right?
Yeah.
He passed away. But like they kept giving him shot after shot, and he was beating everybody's ass online.
Well, yeah, dog. It's those background brawls.
And then you get these people that know how to fucking fight. Holy fuck!
Then you get guys that know how to fight, can fight, are tough as nails. I mean, you're talking about some some of these cats are goddamn Irish they're pikeys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Some dudes out there, they don't look that badass, and they're gonna knock you out as soon as they fucking knuckles connect with your face.
I've known some little guys that don't look like it, and I've seen them whoop ass.
Dog, it's
hard
energy.
as fuck. Yeah.
Just like you had that picture of Mr. King fucking looking all clean in the singlet.
Wrestling days, yeah. Sean's done some MMA.
I do look clean in a singlet.
Dude, especially now that you fucking got it tucked in. So, but that's what I'm saying. Like those wrestlers and shit, you never know. I remember getting my ass whooped by this cat that weighed 130 pounds, right? And I was like 170. And then another one of my homies who's probably like 165 or whatever. We both tried to tag team this cat who legitimately was like a state level fucking wrestler at 125 or whatever his weight class was. Whenever he sweat out fucking as much sweat as he possibly could and still functioned, he pinned both of us at the same fucking time.
Fuck.
So pinned me, and grabs my homie and pins him. And I was just like, this is some bullshit, dog. I'm glad there's no females in my house, and nobody in this house is allowed to talk about this shit ever again.
There was 10 of them.
Never happened, but we knew Dylan was a bad motherfucker at that point. And we're talking about a cat who just fueled on weed too. That's all he would do, was just smoke weed and wrestle, and work out. This dude had abs on abs. It was so no wonder he whooped my ass.
Your abs have abs.
And I had no abs. And that was such a humbling experience to get broken like that with my homie. We could have got raped, dog. This motherfucker could have penetrated us because they know how to do that. They check her. Oh, you know what I mean?
It's remarkable. I did stay clean.
It's the dark arts, dog. I don't dig that shit.
It's the dark arts. Can we go somewhere less rapey?
Yeah. So anyways, I don't know. I haven't really watched any MMA for the last couple fucking months, but I've been thinking, I'm like, man, me and Sean King, we haven't had any MMA talk for a while. This is going to have to happen.
It's a transitional time right now. It's just everything's kind of up in the air. There's a lot of fighters out. There's a lot of fighters just sitting around.
Does Uriah Faber even fight anymore?
No. And Ty was my brother, Ty, who's a huge MMA guy, and he's the one who got me into the Joe Rogan podcast and everything fucking 8.5 years ago. Who you tatted on his you cleaned up his motherfucking only tattoo so well on his ribs, which I saw on the river, and it was shining like a minx, all nice and clean. But anyways, Ty was telling me that the fights, he just had ordered that big card, and he said that Derek Lewis fight fucking sucked. Fucking sucked. He said it was the worst. It was like the least amount of strikes landed in any fucking fight. I mean, are you kidding me, dude?
It was bad.
You fucking kidding me, dude?
It was the exact opposite of what anybody expected. They're like, we don't need 2 rounds.
Dude, I'm just like, come on, DL. You know, I love that guy's his social media.
He was, after the fact, they asked him if he thought he earned a title shot and this kind of stuff, and he said he didn't earn anything after fighting like that. He really owned up to that.
That's good. Yeah.
Well said, bro.
And I think Dana White was talking about Ngannou or whatever, getting mental help, help mentally with something. It was a weird.
Well, Dana could definitely use some mental help as well, because
he's into it with Brandon Schaub.
Brandon Schaub. No, I'm a Fighter and the Kid guy. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm on their podcast for fucking years, since the beginning. I love that dynamic. I love fucking Brian Callen's ridiculous silliness. His fucking he's a like independent dude. So you know he's not he thinks a lot like me and Joshua and you, but you know. He's very outspoken about, like, dude, don't be left, don't be right, just be fucking smart. Think about shit, critically think, you know, all the time. But he's also pretty gay, as gay as a hetero guy can be, and he's totally open about that. And I love how they just fucking tease each other back and forth, because Schaub has a horrible sense of style. But he thinks he has a great sense of style. But the dude just is fucking built, can whoop ass, and has a great set of hair and a gorgeous wife.
Did he ever end up making his own coffee?
Yeah, well, yeah. So now that his stomach isn't literally eating itself from all the fucking acidic, you know, shit going on.
The coffee's fucking this guy's life up, and then he's like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make my own coffee.
Coffee can't kill you, and it was killing him. And he was calling it the AIDS for a while because it was so bad. So, anyways,
start my day with a fresh cup of AIDS.
I drink a lot of coffee. How much does one have to drink to get to the point where they're calling it?
Well, he wasn't. He was doing like keto diet, and he wasn't eating anything. And he was just pounding cups of coffee and going fasting for 5-6 hours before he'd eat, and pounding coffee and going to the podcast, going to work out.
That's where you got to listen to your body. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he doesn't smoke weed. And so if you smoked weed, you'd be like, oh, shit. Oh, I don't feel so good before you start shitting blood. But their dynamic is so fucking good. Because Callan just got it signed up. Callan's just got signed up for a show now. He's like 51. He just got his break. I mean, how he figures, you know, hit the break he's been looking for. Got his own spin-off show from Fresh Off the Boat or whatever. Yeah. So good for him. And they're just fucking funny dudes, dude. They got the dude that runs their technical shit. He's a fucking tall ass, funny Asian guy. Kind of funny. but he works well with them, and then they'll bring in guests. But those two just by themselves, I dig their fucking dynamic. And Schaub was, he was just like, he has his own other podcast, which is Below the Belt, and he does a show on Showtime for fighting. And I think it's mostly boxing stuff, breaking down boxing. But I mean, he can break down any fucking fighting because the guy was a heavyweight fucking competitor in the UFC, and so he knows fighting in and out. And he's one of those guys that like you don't argue with when it comes to fighting. And you wouldn't think that Dana White would fucking argue with somebody that was one of his fighters that's very articulate, that gets paid to do all this shit in an open forum like fucking Twitter, And for some reason, he jumped on.
Well, that history goes back a little bit. With
I know.
The Reebok endorsement when all that changed. Schaub had to get rid of all of his sponsors, and he claimed that he had hundreds of thousands of dollars lost because the UFC made Reebok the exclusive. They got each fighter just got paid a little bit of money by Reebok, and that was it.
Because they couldn't put any endorsements on their shorts. They couldn't be individualized.
They used to be able to get. You could have as many sponsorships.
You were a billboard.
As you wanted.
You could have it on your own shit.
So
too.
now they've changed that. Now you
just
can.
Reebok. That's it. And
Because I was going to make it a requirement to work here that you have to be sponsored.
by Crocs,
Snickers,
by Voodoo.
Audible.
Yeah, that's what's up, man.
Yeah, so he's came at Dana with legal battle, in regards to those monies and that sort of thing. He's been outspoken about Dana White,
as he should be. He should be. He's anti corporate domination, which in that sense you need to be, because Dana is the head of the pyramid at that point, and he's getting trickled money from Reebok. That's why they did it. They did it to consolidate the sponsors, so the company could make the most money, and the fighters lost the most money. Mm-hmm. So it's becoming less, humane, I guess, towards the fighters, and more corporate and capitalistic towards the end goal of making profit for the owners and the shareholders, which is fucking lame, dude. I mean,
it's lame, but it seems to be
that's status
everything.
quo. That's status quo.
Yeah,
but that was what was cool about fucking MMA. It was individual like that. You know what I'm saying? It was cool to see Shogun come out in his own shit and shit. What the fuck? What company is it? I can't even read motherfucking Portuguese. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know, but you look that shit up. Now it's like Reebok. Fuck Reebok. I will never buy a pair of fucking Reeboks. First off, they don't make them in my huge size. Secondly, if they did, they're not comfortable. I'm a Nike guy. But yeah, I loved how Brendan just ripped fucking Dana a new asshole and told him to go shut his fucking mouth. Because if you're gonna come at me, don't attack me like he did. Dana just went schoolyard with it, man. He called him like names and shit. It was just like, don't listen to this fucking idiot. He's a fucking piece of shit douchebag. The guy can't even fight anymore. It's like, dude. First off, I'll whoop your ass any fucking day.
Did Dana ever fight?
Yeah, he's a boxer.
He's a boxer, okay.
He did amateur boxing. He can box, and he's got a big fucking chest. He's all swolly and McGuns and shit, but he would get his ass choked so goddamn fast.
Sure.
I mean, Schaub could choke him out in about 8 seconds, pull draws down, teabag his ass, post that on Twitter.
If he could get
and that would be about the same level of what Dana
exactly.
tried to bring to him. It was like,
I imagine Dana's gooned up.
Well, Dana's got gooned.
Yeah.
Dana's got gooned.
Yeah.
But so does Schaub. I mean, Schaub's got Rockhold, DC, motherfucking, he's got a gang of homies too. Who, if push came to shove and there was a fight, they would jump on it. They would have his back because it's just instinct. I've trained with this guy for years.
You mentioned Shogun Hua. Did you see him get knocked out the other day? Nasty.
Oh yeah,
nasty.
He was who did he fight?
Guy's name? I Anthony Smith.
Oh yeah.
It was a fight night. They had like Fight Night Germany or something like that, and that was and it's on you. I recommend watching it. Nasty, nasty knockout.
Sweet, dude.
This just happened like recently.
Yeah.
Well, Shogun's an OG. And he's been fighting for 20-something years, 26 years.
I think
it's like 20
remember
years.
him and his brother both fighting in Pride.
They were pros at 16 years old. Yeah. So they were competing at professional level before they were 18.
And Shogun did modeling when he wasn't.
Yeah, he's a bad motherfucker.
He was a model when he wasn't doing MMA.
Dude, and those Gracie boys are pretty good looking guys too.
Would you, if you could go back, would you consider fighting yourself? Like, would you do MMA? Would you?
You know, I don't have the discipline. I didn't have the discipline when I was young enough because I did take karate. Me and my brother grew up watching Van Damme movies. I didn't have any. There was no fucking regulations on watching movies because my dad owned a pawn shop. You know what I'm saying? We had.
Right.
I was just talking to my buddy yesterday about. I remember going to watch True Lies with my parents. And every bit of that, how badass this fucking beginning of that was, dude. You know, scuba diving, you know, and all that shit. And here's my invitation, blowing, you know, and then fucking just starts capping up,
Right.
and then goes home and he's a motherfucking computer salesman. You know what I mean? And I was just like, I remember karate kicking the shit out of stuff in my house and getting karate kicked like a motherfucker by my big brother, and motherfucking, you know, kicked and punched, throat chops, noogies,
Right.
all sorts of shit, and that was just the thing we did, dude. We fucking
brothers.
We were little, you know, getting shit out,
Right.
And so it was there was an atmosphere of a lot of fucking, you know, kind of martial arts shit going on in my house when I was growing up. We just loved it, and so I got into karate in second grade. While I still lived in town. That was before we moved out to the country, and I did it for like 6-something months, and yeah, it was pretty fun. But I think I started
Getting into trouble and shit. And,
that was it, yeah, because I was always in trouble.
Yeah,
I mean, I got my very first referral, which, you know, sent to the fucking principal's office and written up, and this is going in your record, for stabbing a kid with I went and I sharpened the pencil first because he made my teacher Debbie Tay cry, who was a really good friend of my mom's, because my mom taught at the same school, Bohemia Elementary. And so this fucking kid, dude, was being such a little cunt. And I didn't know he had like a lot of emotional issues at home and stuff. I was just the first, you know,
right.
a six-year-old. And in first grade, and I went and this kid had made our teacher cry. He was being such a little savage. And so I was like, this little son of a bitch.
You're like, motherfucker.
I did. I
sharpening
got
the pencil.
so
On a
sharpened.
side note, nothing sharpens anything in the universe
Like
as
one of those
sharp
old school
as one
fucking-
of those
yeah.
barrel
That's what I'm saying.
pencil sharpeners.
Homie, this thing was wicked sharp, and I broke the lead off in this motherfucker.
Did you do it like prison style?
No, dude, I did a one shank. Gah! Right in the ass cheek. Right in the ass cheek, dog. He started crying. So there was, you know, nice reciprocity of tears. And then I ended up going right to the fucking principal's office because they were like, oh my God, Sean. No. And he was bleeding and shit, you know. And so I remember having to go to my mom's fucking classroom after for the rest of the day and stuff because it's major timeout style.
So the funny thing is it sounds like you tattooed somebody before I did.
Yeah, dog. So that would have been
that shit stayed
no,
in
that'd
there.
have been 1991.
Oh no, okay, still got you beat.
But we were on the same wavelength.
Right.
And I did actually get
It was
into
a
start
stabby
drawing. I was
decade.
starting drawing then.
Oh,
I
yeah.
started taking and my sister brought this up last week because my grandma had this drawing of a cougar I did on her refrigerator for 15 years, you know what I mean? That I remember it took me like a whole day to do, but I had taken classes and stuff, and it was a legit cougar, you know?
Right,
It wasn't
right.
perfect, because to me, I was like, it should look like that fucking picture.
Right.
I'm 8 years old. You know?
That's cool, though,
Trying to
man.
do photorealism.
Right.
And I did a really good job, and then it turned out the dude that was the art instructor, who was the only art instructor in that class, did like kind of a Bob Ross thing where he came and he taught. I remember him doing it in our first and second grade class, showing us how to draw in our class. Turned out he's a pedo.
Fuck.
Of course,
Right.
right?
That
fucking-
explains the picture of John Cougar on Joshua's refrigerator.
Yeah.
So he never pedoed me. I wasn't cute enough, or maybe I was just too much of a loudmouth. He's like, this kid's gonna tell.
This kid's gonna stab me.
This kid's gonna stab me. He's got a whole arsenal of colored, sharpened motherfucking to the point. You know, goddamn, this kid could fuck me up. And I would have fucked him up. I'd have stuck him in the balls. Dude, I knew about pedos, man. My mom told me, anybody try to touch you, you holler, rape! Motherfucking scream your head. Like, you know, you scream like a motherfucker. You punch them in the dick. Whatever you gotta do, you get away from them.
I just wasn't attractive to these people, I imagine.
Well, you should have been wearing that singlet, dog.
Well, I I was putting it out there.
Check my oil. Check my oil.
He's outside looking for vans.
Yeah. Is there any mall Santas around?
Anybody got free candy?
Son,
or
it's March.
Anybody needs help finding a puppy
I
out
need
there?
some candy, but I don't have a lot of money.
You're talking about your brothers. Was it you, Sean, that told me didn't you have an older brother that would pretend that you died?
Yeah, he would be hanging out with his friends. Me being 3 or 4 years younger, all I wanted to do was hang out with the older kids, and I'd go over in his room and be like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" And just being dicks would kind of say things like, "Man, it's too bad Sean died."
While you're in the room?
Yeah, and I'm standing there, and
like
you know,
a
of
ghost.
course, I'm like, "Hey guys, I'm not dead. I'm right here." And they'd be like, "Oh, you know, it's almost like you could still hear him," and shit like that. And eventually, I get frustrated and blast one of them in the balls, and be like, I don't seem so dead now, do I?" And
Ghost punch.
I'd take a beating for it, but worth it every time.
That's what I did too. And I was in counseling by the time I was 10 years old because of my brother, I thought, because I had this whole record already. I mean, I had been talked to by the cops, the fucking fire department, fire chief.
Fire marshal.
Yes. A fire
Military
marshal.
babies.
We're talking authoritative figures to the utmost.
I had outlets plugged into other outlets.
So no.
Nothing's up to code.
This is about dispersal of explosives and all sorts of shit. So, anyways, there was like history. You know what I'm saying? And so they knew. They were just like, dude, this kid's just chill the fuck out. So I had to go to counseling. And it wasn't because of my brothers, mostly because of my dad. Because my dad was the big brother. Because my dad is a big fucking kid. He was alcoholic. He never grew the fuck up. He was the worst. So my brother emulated my dad. You know what I mean? And so, my dad used to tell me when I was 6, 7 years old, I had to start doing chores when I was 4 or 5 years old. And me and my brother, he's 5 years older than me, Ty. And I have a sister, Molly, who's 7 years younger than me. And so Ty, we had a list of chores we had to do every fucking day, dude. We didn't even get paid. You know what I mean? This is back before you really even got allowance. Sometimes we got allowance and shit. Mostly we just buy candy or whatever whenever we got that shit. But my dad would be like, go get wood, we need some more wood. 7 years old, the wheelbarrow there. It's dark though. And he'd be like, watch out for the boogeyman. He's been spotted. And he loves to eat little kids named Sean who are 7 years old.
He's been spotted.
These are the reasons I had kids.
He has been spotted. Watch out for green eyes.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so he would just do shit like that. And my brother, we love, because we were watching motherfucking scary movies and stuff like that. My brother pretended to be Freddy Krueger growing up. And so anytime there was the dark, he would look for opportunities to like hide in the dark. He'd fucking jump out and grab You know what I mean? Fucking scared the shit out of me, dog.
Scare me now.
Dude, you know what I mean? Like fucking, he would just, and I was such a little pussy, but you can't, when your big brother's like acting like he's possessed and shit and like dragging you down a dark hallway, like, come with me. It's like, oh my God.
Why do you have steak knives taped to your fingers?
You know what I'm saying? So, and that was my dad in a nutshell.
Yeah,
my dad was the same fucking, my dad played the worst practical jokes on us, dude. He would hide in the most ridiculous spots to get the highest level of fucking reaction. You know what I mean? I remember this one time. He lit my brother up so bad with fear. Ty was shook for like a week, dude. He like waited outside of the camper trailer my brother was staying in like the summertime or whatever, and like was listening and then knew when I was coming out for a piss. And right when he did, fucking he jumps in there. And just like fucking, my brother was like, dude, I think I pissed myself. I was like, what do you expect, dude? That's dad. So we had that growing up, you know what I mean? So I was afraid of the dark. I was afraid of bullshit. And then one time, I remember my brother just being like, you know what? It's all bullshit, dude. Don't be afraid of the dark. If there was anything out there, it would have got me already. And I was like, oh, word. You're right. You're the asshole. If it would have got anybody, it would have been you. You're the dickhead you're the one in the movie who deserves to get fucked up. I'm the one who's going to live. So, that's how, and then I just started getting bigger and I was like, you know what? I'll punch a goddamn motherfucking boogeyman in the face. I will kick him right in the junk.
That was my always thing. Remember I used to talk about that, Sean? I used to be like, I don't get in scary movies when like someone wakes up and it's always like a little girl with like a music box. Like that scares them. Like fucking, I wake up and John Jones is in my bedroom. Now I'm fucking scared.
Yeah. Well,
like,
yeah.
fucking, like what am I gonna? You know what I mean? Fucking, I'll punch a fucking 11-year-old.
Yeah,
you know what
dude,
I mean? Fuck your
yeah,
music box.
Demented bitch. I
Yeah.
don't give a fuck.
Yeah, stop playing that stupid music over and over again. You know I hate shit that repeats.
Yo, your eyes are bleeding. How's my fingers feeling there, bitch?
You fucking wake up with a fucking pro wrestler at the foot of your bed.
yeah,
You
sure.
know.
Dude, yeah, you're fucked. There
Yeah.
are real monsters out there too, and that's
Right.
what I'm saying. Like I've been out in the woods, and I've been. There's some of the scariest shit. Like so, after the Blair Witch came out, I remember riding my quad because we used to fucking trespass all over Weyerhaeuser territory and shit. Because at my dad's house, I could ride a quarter to a half mile down the road, hit a fucking gravel road that took you to this field where they used to fly airplanes, model like remote control
Nice.
airplanes and shit. And I would take this. Cut across through another field to old like elk trail through some reprod, which is reproduction growth trees, and that would get me onto an old cat trail that would take me to the gravel roads in the hills, and I could just smash. I could go fucking wherever I wanted to go in Oregon from there, and because all the roads connect. I mean, there's gravel roads that connect to all the paved roads in Oregon. It's crazy because all the logging and all the fucking infrastructure we have set up to exploit the wilderness, because that's what
go
they do
wherever.
nowadays. It's not managed the way it should be. But we could get to BLM too, which is managed pretty well. But we would just smash, dude. Fucking, I mean, I would just be smoking chronic. I have my little pipe and my chronic on me all the time. Bottle of water, and maybe a backup gas tank, and me and my homies would just be smoking. And yeah, dude, we would just fucking fly up and down these gravel hills. And I remember just sometimes it'd get a little dark.
Right.
And I'd be creeping through that elk trail. And fucking, I would get the heebie-jeebies, like something's watching. And I don't remember, you know, it was just me being like, you know, a scaredy little bitch. So I was only like 14, 15 years
Right.
old. And a lot of times I was by myself. But just thinking like, dude, you know how much it would suck to get fucked up by some motherfucking mountain lion out here, or some bear, or
Fuck.
some ravenous dog, or some Blair Witch.
Right.
Any or all of those things
Right.
would just, it would suck, dude. It would be one of the shittiest motherfucking days of my life. And we did have some hardcore fucking troubles one day when we were well far out there. And I was only probably 13 years old, and I was with two of my buddies, and we were a good 15 miles from my house, if not further. And one of my buddies got stuck.
Did you all have quads? You guys are all on quads.
We all had, well, I had three-wheelers and a quad, and my buddy had a dirt bike, and another buddy of mine had a three-wheeler. So
you could all get around.
we could
Yeah.
all smash, but
Yeah.
my buddy's bike wouldn't make it up this hill. We all went down this hill, but he couldn't get back up the hill, and we didn't want to leave his bike. And it was the middle of fucking summer. It was hot as shit. And before we knew it, we were thirsty as fuck, dude. I never realized I had never been that dehydrated before.
And you're just out in the middle of fucking
Out in the middle
nowhere.
of nowhere,
Yeah.
dog. There ain't no.
Yeah.
Where's the water fountain, bro?
Right.
There, and I didn't have no bottled water. This was before they even really started bottling water
Yeah.
for market. And I was no canteen, absolutely nothing, and no saliva. And I just remember we were getting covered in mud because that was the hill that the only spot we could make it up was this muddy slick, and that's partly why he didn't have traction and shit. So we were trying to get it up. We had to like carry this fucking bike
Fuck.
up around the outside of this fucking mudslide, or this hill climb is what they call them. And then when we got to my house, we all just like bathed in my sink. We like stuck our faces in it and just let the water run over.
Yeah.
It just hit your lips
Yeah.
and shit. It felt fantastic.
It's so good when it hits your lips.
It is, dog. That moisture is wonderful. And so I love it now. It reminds me, you know, to always stay hydrated, man. Like, fuck. My mom was making fun of me while we were on the river because I have so many fucking beverages with me. I was like, I packed some cider.
No, it does make sense, man. Like I said, I put that sauna in my house, and like I'll feel so good coming out of it. But that's, you know, you need to rehydrate right now. Yeah,
You can hydrate in there.
yeah.
And that's even
It's
smart,
important. Yeah,
because I think you could, especially if you just did like ice water or something.
Sure,
Dude,
totally,
keep that
yeah.
core cold.
Yeah.
While you're fucking getting the epidermis and all those fascial.
yeah. Because the one that I got is fucking hot as balls, and like it's amazing. Like it makes my skin feel so good, and like Dr. Rhonda Patrick is like, she's the main reason I got into it, because she's just nuts about the benefits of it. And you feel amazing, but about an hour later, if you don't really hydrate, you're just like, I'm fucking a raisin and I'm going to bed, and it's fucking not smart.
Have you come out of it and seen that mist?
Oh yeah.
Where it's just what's going on? Why is this world steamy?
Yeah, it's like, what year is it? You know
your
what I mean?
brain is steamy, dog.
Yeah. So definitely.
How long have you had that?
4 days.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah,
Not
bro.
bad. Yeah, man. I'm
When'd you
fucking.
get that?
I know, right?
This week.
Right. No, it's just I fucking love it, man. I fucking I look into this stuff, and it's like, you know what? Spoil yourself if you can do it. Like, dude, spoil yourself. You know what I mean?
You look amazing.
Thank you.
You have shed 15 years. Like
for sure. Yeah. I was tattooing the other day, and I was tattooing this pretty big dude, and we were just talking, and I look up at him, and he goes, "Man, not to sound gay, but your eyes are so blue right now." And I was just like, "I'm so." I mean, it's healthy. You know what I mean?
I fucking just had that fucking same gay moment, man, because you're just shining.
Right.
It's like this brightness coming off your motherfucking.
I'm just happy. I'm happy, man.
Dude,
it's great.
I love it.
It's fucking. It's amazing. Yeah, I know. I feel like every podcast, that's all I talk about, and even when I'm tattooing, I'm always. I'm kind of like, sorry about this, but they like to hear it too. So I just had the Boise Tattoo Convention. We put on the Boise 208 Tattoo Fest. It went great. I always have a lot of stress putting on these shows, but honestly, it went really well. So thank you, Boise. Anybody that's listening, we had a lot of fans out there, actually. Sweet. A lot of people. I actually heard some people listening to our podcast. They kind of did it on purpose. They're like, oh, Josh, we're going to kick out of this.
Oh, he's coming over.
Yeah. Turn it up.
It's like, sweet, bitch, listen to that shit.
But what I noticed that was funny is I hadn't seen any of these people in like a year. And a lot of people follow me, so they know about the weight loss journey through.
But when you see you,
people straight up did not recognize me. I was standing in front of some, they're not friends, but they're friends I see once a year.
Yeah.
So and you could tell that, they would be talking to somebody else in my group, and they were like, "Who's this fucking dude just hanging out?" And then you could see it register. Holy fuck, that's goddamn what the. But then one guy came up to me. He was like this little Mexican guy, and he's like, "Hey, can I talk to you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You're Joshua Carlton, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Are you sick?" And I'm like, "Man, I'm healthier than I've ever been." He's like, "Oh, good.
Sweet.
I thought you were dying."
I love how Mexicans keep it real, dog.
Yeah.
Dog.
Yeah.
You got the worm, bro?
Yeah. He's like, "Are you sick?" It's like, "Are you?"
Dude, I don't have a tapeworm, bro.
Yeah.
I'm okay, man. I'm okay.
Like what?
I had a cousin who had that shit, dude. I mean, you. Look,
I want to know what he's gonna do if I said yeah. You know what I mean? And be like, "Yeah, I got AIDS from coffee."
Dude. Hey, man, however you got to do it.
Right.
You're looking great. And Sean's looking great, too, man.
Yeah, man, that's one of the reasons.
Thank you for saying it. I dropped 65 pounds in 6 months, and you're the only one that said anything about
Homie,
it.
I'm one of the only guys who sees you.
Here's what, you know what, though? I was talking to Nikki about this because my wife gets it, too. She's lost over 40 pounds, and I'm the one that gets told constantly. I will tell you that what I did immediately was like, I look better, tighter clothes.
Yeah.
Like at first, and so Sean wears the same clothes. I gave Sean a bunch of my clothes that were too big for me.
Yeah.
He actually weighs less than me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Sean, that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on here, because Sean, without realizing it, I'm kind of telling your story, got really healthy. And I kind of figured it out.
Side note, when you guys were at Hi-Fi, Nikki looked incredible.
Yeah, she really does.
Well, Nikki, while you guys were at Hi-Fi, Nikki looked incredible.
Yeah.
Where's Just yeah, Nikki, you've been looking incredible.
Yes.
You do look.
We're all proud of you.
Kill it. I mean, all three of you guys.
Because she was doing it before me.
Yeah.
No, so Sean, he met somebody, and I think that particular person, kind of like reined him in. You know what I mean? Like, Sean lived with me for a long time, and I'm going to throw you under the bus here. But I'm throwing myself under the bus too, because I couldn't sleep. So I'd be up at 3 a.m. Sean would come rolling in from just fucking around, whatever, and not even have food, but just be like, "Man, I'm hungry."
I know. He's perpetually hungry.
Right. So what's open? Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And I'm not even hungry, but I love food. This is before all this. So he's like, "Do you want anything?" And I'm like, "Yeah, give me 5 tacos."
Hell yeah, I want something.
What the fuck? 5 fucking...
At 3 a.m.
You were
Let me break my
pocket
fast.
taco or the pocket burger.
That's no bullshit.
The trip to Arby's was like, pick me up 2.
Yeah, that's no bullshit. Like, I remember going to... God, what was it? It was... What restaurant was that we went to? It was some restaurant that had burgers, and I literally got a burger and said, "This is for my pocket." Like, I fucking put it in my pocket. I really did. But the funny thing is I think I ate it in the car. Like, I made it to the parking lot I ate my regular burger inside, put one in my pocket, and then I ate the other one in the car. So you know what I mean? It wasn't
Which
really
was
worth
never
it.
hot enough.
Right. Just like room temperature beef.
You would microwave them severely.
So anyway, I don't think either one of us knew. I don't think we cared how bad it was because, you know, you had said something to me at one point that made a lot of sense. And it was like, if this shaves off 5 years of my life, I'd rather live this life. Fuck those 5 years. I'd rather live these years good. And I agreed with you on that until I was told I was literally sick. Like, to be honest with you, if I could have stayed the same weight that I was and been okay and this like lost 5 years at the end of my life, I don't know if I'd have changed. I agree with you. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the diabetes scared the shit out of me. But I think that your particular case, I think that when you kind of, when you went out on your own, I think that you just started eating better just because you were eating with somebody else that ate smarter. You know what I mean? Like whether there was cooking going on, but I don't see you eating Taco Bell at 3 a.m., at least not as much.
Yeah, no.
I know you love Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, I do.
But see, that's the funny thing is I don't think that there's necessarily good food and bad food. There's too much of anything.
Yes.
And I think that Pop-Tarts are completely fine in moderation. I think that most things are fine in moderation. Like, what did you don't like cocaine, but you love the way it smells? Moderation.
Okay. Definitely moderation.
Yeah. I think that because, you know, you lost do you mind if I say your weight?
Yeah.
I think you're about 160 pounds now.
I'm around 165 at the moment.
I'm about 160 now. I was 210. I think you were right there with me, around 210 or so, maybe even more.
The fair was in town this week, so
yeah. So currently you weigh
I had a bad
a kielbasa. Was it one long bite?
Leg,
Yeah.
I went hard. A human leg at the fair.
But yeah, so like, you know, I noticed your weight loss happening, and you were like, I haven't changed anything, which that made me concerned for you. And I was like, well, you know, it seems cool, but what if it's coffee aids? So, you know, I know you've gotten checked up and everything is good. So I guess long story short, congratulations. It's kind of cool. Like, I feel like we're the healthiest we've been since we've known each other. We've been best friends for over 10 years.
Finally, I rubbed off on you
true.
two motherfuckers, dude. Jesus.
I think the case with me, and I don't know if this is relatable to anyone, but working out, dieting is work to me. It's torture to me. It's something that I'm going to rebel against, and it's something I know myself that well. I can't look at these things as work. I can't look at these things as, you know, even though I guess I'm doing some of the same things, it's just how I rationalize them to myself. When I ride a bicycle every day, rode one here.
It seems like it's more organic for you. It's like,
I'm 10 years old riding my bike through the neighborhood, smelling the smells and looking at the trees and the dogs.
Now,
and
does the
cats.
marijuana help with that?
Yeah, but I gotta say,
Yeah.
I gotta say it's. But I mean, it's just.
I mean, are you usually do you smoke? You smoke pretty much every day, right?
Yeah.
I love it, dude. I mean, I do, as you know, and so I mean that's part of the honesty that I like to share with people about why I feel rejuvenated and feel like a kid when I'm playing basketball. Because this is what it feels like. It feels like I'm on the fucking playground at recess.
If you were to say, Sean, you want to go play basketball competitively as a serious workout health, I wouldn't want to do it. If you said, Sean, you want to go play some horse or you want to go shoot around, I wouldn't be so opposed to something like that.
For you,
because it sounds fun. It's a game. It's me enjoying something. And with food, that was a tough one too. And with food, I still struggle with eating what I enjoy just because I like how it tastes. Moderation is where the food piece came into me. I eat half of what I ate, and I'm not hungry. I just realized I was overeating, and I
Just because it tasted good, yeah.
That, or for whatever reason, I had in my head that I had to eat the maximum amount of food I could.
Well, you paid for it, you know. Like I paid for this entire plate. Like one of the things I noticed this about you recently. I talk a lot about fasting. I don't think you realize it, but you fast all the time. Seriously, so I talk about fasting all the time, and Sean never mentioned it. And several times I've been with you, and you're like, it's like 9 o'clock at night, and you're like, I haven't eaten today.
Yes.
And I'm like, so you don't constantly, and so like you do that. Like I'm a big fan of what I call the warrior diet. It's one meal a day. I get all my calories in one meal most days. It works for me. I like it. You kind of do that on accident, and then so I do intermittent fasting as well, like 16. I'll eat in an 8-hour window, but you'll basically do that as well. Like sometimes maybe it's 14, but sometimes it's 20.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I think that's what I'm saying when I think I figured out your situation. You ride a bike everywhere now. You're eating much more organically and better. You're making better choices for sure.
Which makes all the difference.
Yeah.
And with the food thing, more just whole food versus processed food.
Right.
That's I've noticed a difference.
Yeah.
Just I never did. I just went by flavor and self gratification
I just
more than
like
I
that.
did for.
Well, you're so picky that you wanted stuff that tasted good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was I remember, dog.
Still do.
I mean, it's frustrating. You're frustrating.
Oh yeah, I'm one of those people that anything healthy for me, I hate.
Well, and not even that. It's like you just like you'll be like, well, what sounds good? Well, I don't even. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I'm not. And it's like, well, I'll get you food. So but let me know. And I think I've experienced that with you. And your woman and your lady has said the exact. She's like, this happens every day.
If you want to stump Sean, meaning me, ask me what I want to eat.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That
I
was like
could tell you
the
the
number one
meaning of
motherfucking.
life before I could tell you where I want to eat.
I could tell you 3 things I'm down to eat right now.
But see, I like that though, because I like that Sean got himself perfectly healthy. He's been to the doctor and he's perfectly healthy. Even though he smoked cigarettes for so long, the doctor was like, he's got some DNA that works.
Yeah.
I completely looked at it from a different point of view for myself. You looked at it a different way. And, I just like that, like, end of the day, just get there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 10 ways to do a tattoo. Does that shit look fucking bad as fuck at the end? Do it however it takes to get there. Sean rides his bike everywhere. I've fallen in love with running. I was just telling Sean earlier that I've been running with a vest on now and with weights because, like when you're heavier, you burn way more calories. So once I got lean, it was like I noticed I was burning less calories. And I was like, well, I just need to pretend I'm fat again. Boom, put on some weights. Keep an eye on my Fitbit and watch my calories fucking go. You know what I mean? Because now I'm at maintenance. So now it's like weird because I got to eat like almost 3,000 calories a day.
Yes.
It's crazy. You know what I mean? And I'm like, how am I even going to do that? So I just keep it as healthy as possible. And then honestly, on days, sometimes I wake up and I just want to fucking whatever the fuck I want. And I usually end up still having something good like steak.
Yeah.
I don't go crazy. I don't go for the pie and shit like that. But if I do feel it, I'll do it because it's so rare that it's completely okay. I know on your birthday you had that pie.
Yeah.
I'd have done the same thing. Like I'm not keeping anything for myself. Sean loves Pop-Tarts and he has them when he wants, but you kept the weight off for a long time now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I'll have 1, not 5. Or, the moderation comes into play. And I think out of the whole thing with me, the thing I'm most proud about with it is that I learned something about myself. Like I learned that if I just listen to myself, I'll know when to eat. I'll know when to sleep.
Yeah.
I'll know when to ride, when to walk.
Yeah, we've talked about that
swim.
before. Listen to your body.
And that's I love it because he was one of those guys who I would have said, this guy doesn't listen to himself, because I've known you for several years now. And so it's like watching this evolution, and it happened since this spring. So at the end of winter.
It was pretty fast.
It was right at the end of winter. Yeah. And it was around the Evergreen Invitational thing. Nikki was already doing it. Sean had met his woman. His lady was taking care of him, trying to get him on the healthier, frequency and making him more aware of that stuff. It's in the forefront every day. When you're around somebody who's health conscious, then it keys you into that fucking level of awareness.
See, I share a lot of the same philosophy. This philosophy I have on it is kind of adopted from her. She's the dessert mastermind. Where there's dessert every night.
But see, she's super in shape too.
And that's
so
it's nice
clearly
to have the reward, man.
She's got the experience. I like you always hear me like, you can talk to me about anything if you have experience. She's super in shape. She's obviously knows what she's talking about. If she wants to have dessert every night, she can fucking do it.
Well, if you tell me, Sean, here's a great way that you can lose weight, you can feel better. My sleep apnea is gone.
Yeah.
The most severe I've ever known Well, at least I'm
Nobody,
told this.
nobody snores like you snored.
And it's gone.
The lumberjack.
We've been to so many conventions where you have to split a hotel room, and it's these headphones, man, and
The rifle range headphones. It's
you gave me a pair.
Yeah, I did just for that.
Yeah.
And it's like it's such an odd thing to be rid of. But if you told me, Sean, this could all happen for you, and there's going to be dessert. Shit.
That's what I'm saying. But you got that's
What? All right.
so part of that is though, and in my perspective at least, is you have
There will be dessert.
you have an amazing you have the cannabis. It's not all the cannabis. It's your lifestyle, and everything, but the cannabis is helping that, and it makes the dessert that much better too.
True,
and,
true.
And the cannabis is dessert when you're smoking chronic good shit. There's nothing like that. It's like a good wine with the right meal. It's a pairing. You know what I'm saying?
I'm kind of a dial back, and I do this. I with marijuana, I go heavier, and then I'll pull back.
As you should.
When I just I'm on one of those cycles right now. It's
Nice.
It's well, my day's done. Time to settle in.
But what's pull back for you though? Because it's still daily.
Yeah. What is pull
Couple
back
hits
for
at
you?
couple hits at night.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I really like the pins.
Yeah.
Just a couple draws. That not anything real crazy. Just it's I've got to be careful with it because when there's a 50-50 about my motivation with it. I'm either going to be so motivated that I'm brilliant, or
Right.
I'm going to just not think about anything but cartoons.
And that's listening to your body and listening to your
Yes.
consciousness and going, okay, where am I at? Am I on the page I want to be on for my goals and for what I need to achieve? Or am I stony baloney right now and I'm fucking, doodling on this while I'm fucking paying attention to Rick and Morty?
It's one of the reasons I don't smoke before I tattoo.
Oh, yeah, dog.
Is
Yeah, I know a lot of artists that can.
There
but-
is I think that there's a 50-50. There's a 50% chance that I'm going to be hyper-focused in all those
crush
things that
it.
are happening.
And crush it.
And then there's a chance I'm going to be thinking about yodeling or cartoons or whatever, and my focus is not going to be where it needs to be. And if I go into that more unaffected, it's just a little more leveled out. It's a little more predictable.
I respect all of that, and I love it because, that's you got to pay attention to what you need.
Yeah.
And I've dialed it back recently, too. And by that, it's the only 3 volcano sessions throughout the day with maybe a dab session, and
Right.
only hitting the bong maybe 4 times as opposed to double or triple that.
Sure.
on it,
By
daily
history, I'll bounce back a little bit. I don't know if I like my tolerance to.
Well,
to
part of it is
dial back a little bit too.
My allergies have been so fucked up for the last 2 months.
Yeah, he's
that
been coming in here with his eyes fucked up.
eyes fucked up, and motherfucking lungs fucked up, dude. Like, I can't breathe, bro. And so
feel lucky
my
this-
throat be a little scratchy. Like in the last podcast, I was like, "Oh man, look at my monkey, sucks, dude." Because
Why are you over there flipping a nickel?
some bullshit, man. Raspy as shit. It's just this is the air I breathe. And it's not the chronic, is what sucks. So I've really been trying to just fucking monitor that shit.
Right, so that's like I said, listen to your body. And real quick, just the people that don't follow Sean King here, one of my favorite tattoos you've ever done is on your inside arm right there. You should take a look at
One of my
Sean
favorite
King
tattoos
art.
I've ever done.
Sean King art on Instagram, right?
Yes.
And
Facebook.
check out his work, man. I can proudly say that I helped Sean along his tattoo career, and I'm super proud of him. And he doesn't know this yet, so we're actually announcing it on here. But he's doing my next tattoo. So
Well, he's doing my next tattoo the day after I see you.
yeah, but
for
see,
my tattoo.
I think I think I might get Tupac before you though.
Sweet.
No, just kidding.
Sweet, dog.
No.
We're gonna be Tupac twins.
But yeah, no, I Sean is really come a long way, and I've been thinking about getting tattooed a lot lately, and I was like, man, what do I want to get? Because I got spots now that I'm not ashamed to show.
Yeah.
It's like I want to get a nice tattoo from you, Sean, if you'll tattoo me.
Well,
so.
I'd be happy to tattoo your
Fuck yeah.
cheeks.
Dude, I feel like Sean's definitely stepped up hugely in the last 2 years, especially since the first, the Bruce Lee you did on me. I remember you just being like, that's the best portrait I've ever done. And I have to agree, you fucking killed it. And
I kind of stand by that. not just from an
I don't know,
application
that Gandhi's
standpoint.
pretty fucking
Well,
badass.
but Gandhi's right now. So
Right.
Bruce Lee was over a year ago.
Right.
You know what I
Well,
mean? It's
the
like almost-
amount of black that's in the Bruce Lee. It's
Don't
the
be
ratio,
racist. Don't be racist.
yeah, no.
This is for kids.
The ratio of black to gray to skin, and that tattoo is where I want every single
with the
tattoo I
cannabis leaf
ever
behind
do
it,
to
dog,
land.
is like so clean.
And
And it gets so many compliments. In fact, I was paying my power bill today, and this badass black gentleman fucking hollered at me while I was paying my bill. He goes, "I love that JFK tattoo, dude." And I was like, "Oh, thanks, man." And I was like, "Actually, I'm gonna get that fucking touched up a little bit. It's gonna pop that much harder." I was like, "Check out Bruce and Gandhi," and he was like, "Oh shit, oh sweet man, sweet dude." And he was like, and I went, "Yeah, and Tesla is actually the real one." I was like, if you want to get on that conspiracy tip, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I love it, 1898, bruh, blah blah blah." And I
Wow.
was just like, "Hell yeah!" And then so when I got out of the line, I went over. I'm like, "Hey man, my name's Sean," and he goes, "Hey man, my name's Liberty." And I was like, "Sweet, dude, I do a podcast called Art of Truth. Check it out, please." And he was
Nice.
like, "I'm on it, man. Hell yeah." And and I showed him my Liberty, my Lady Liberty on my
Nice,
leg
nice.
as I was peacing out. I was like, "Yeah, and justice for all, bro." And he was just like, "Oh shit, fuck yeah, I like that." And I was like, "Liberty for a name that's clean.
Right,
I
right.
like that. I mean, that's
You got to be the right person to wear that
he
name.
was
but he
so
sounds like
fucking.
you could,
he was
you could
the
pull it
guy
off,
to
yeah.
wear.
like dumb ninja.
Right.
So there was a nice little fucking
I'm
connection.
all looking at koi fish,
I know you guys really
wrist
ain't got it
rose,
like
yeah.
that.
Shitty angel.
Why do you guys think? That's why I'm like, okay, it's why I dig having separation between these tats so far. I mean, I'm gonna have Goody Mob over here, and that's good. The good die.
Yeah, most people want everything connected. I noticed that you like a little separation in your.
for the
yeah.
most part, I
Right.
do, because I like being able to see the images. I mean, it's not as exactly. It doesn't have to blend together. I don't mind if it does it and it's a really clean transition and everything. And that's the hard part, is how do you get that transition?
You don't want it to look forced. Like you had a bunch of tattoos, and we're like, let's throw some.
Oh, we need to get. Oh, well, how am I going to do? Oh, let's just shade that.
Let's
It's
put
like,
some stars in there. Yeah.
shade is not always the answer.
Right, sure,
So, and you guys are so talented that you can do any fucking thing. I could be
Right.
like, okay, well, let's just do part of a flower behind here.
Sure,
We'll just
sure.
throw that in, just, and you could be like, yeah, okay, and you, that's not what I would do, but that's what you want, and you would respect that in me.
Right.
And then when the thing's done, it's going to look how I want it to look.
Right.
And it's not going to be shitty, because you're going to take your time with it, and whatever image you
that's-
do, we collab on.
That's one of the difficult parts about our job, is being a tattoo artist. Is, as an artist, we have some narcissism where we want to celebrate our vision, but at the end of the day, we talk about, Sean and I talk about this a lot. You do have to responsibly give the tattoo that the client wants to live with forever done well. And that's a fine line, because most people, if they're not an artist, they might, in their head, it might seem cool. So you do have to steer them away from terrible ideas.
Yes, you do.
But sometimes, they have to take ideas that maybe you don't love. Like maybe there's music that I don't love that you do, or vice versa. Doesn't mean it's not good. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, that's a balance. And without being a tattoo artist, it's a little difficult. But Sean and I battle this daily. It's interesting.
I've witnessed it with
Yeah.
you guys. I mean,
Sometimes you just have to say no.
debilitating.
We're
you
not.
know that,
Yeah.
and those are some of the funnest fucking things to talk about when you're like, oh, this guy wanted me to do this shit.
There's
It's
a
like,
guy that wanted a koi fish with a mustache. He's like super realistic, and
super realistic.
yeah, like
Get the fuck out of my face.
A Tom Selleck koi fish did kind of sound like it could be kind of cool, but the whole idea, it's kind of crazy. And so like at some point you just have to be like one guy wanted me to turn his foot into a Lamborghini, like feet. Can you only if you get both, but like and skate around the shop, but like
dude, your foot's a car.
Right.
Yeah, but it's a totally fucking sweet
Something
car.
sound all right when you just
a high
say it. but in
right,
practical
it's a DeLorean. Get it right.
So didn't you want, like, wasn't there a menacing fucking horsefish or seahorse or something that they wanted, somebody wanted, or something? There was some obscure. I mean, there's always some ridiculous thing that somebody will be like, could you do this? And it's like, I could, but I'm not going to.
I get it
Because-
with a lot of flowers or something like that. 'Cause some flowers are just tough to tattoo, especially in like a realistic manner or something like that.
A lot of times they're really just so soft. They don't have that contrast,
I get the idea that flower means something important to the client, but at the same time, it's just a struggle to
But that's not a crazy concept, though. That's just something that might not be the right image or have the right contrasts or tones to really translate to their skin.
I don't think everything's tattooable in a realistic manner. Or
definitely not. Definitely not. But what is tattooable is being changed. I mean, fuck, man. We've seen so many images that you're just like, that's a fucking tattoo.
I get my mind blown daily.
All of us, and it's funny because we all see Amazing Ink every fucking day. I mean, most of who we follow are tattoo artists. So it's when you see some shit and you're just like, God damn, way to kill that, dude. Way to really nail that fucking piece. I love it.
What's weird is that, we're at this fulcrum of tattooing where stuff that would have blown my mind 2 years ago, even now I kind of swipe and I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah, you're over
and
it.
It's so top level. You get that kind of like uncanny valley thing where you expect it to be good, so it is good.
James Cameron, bring that bar up.
Exactly.
Bring that bar
That's
up.
100% the same
Cameron,
thing. So it's like, like you'll see stuff that is mind blowing, but it's so fast that, basically I just go, that's amazing. Of course he's not American. Scroll.
These Germans,
yeah.
These Polish motherfuckers, the
murdering
Polish
it, murdering it.
I'm like, okay, I got to go to Warsaw.
Yeah. So even though I've been tattooing for this long, I'm still hungry because I'm like, I'm not ready. The worst thing that I could ever be told is if someone to describe me is like, oh, this is Josh Carlton. He used to be awesome back in the day. Like that would crush me. I get fat again.
That would be the
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would just commit suicide at that point.
So I'm still hungry to be at that echelon. So like I still wake up hungry. I still treat my art like I treat my health, and I just want to be my absolute best.
Well, and Sean is totally has that same mentality, man. He's taking his shit to the next level too with stuff, and I'm loving it, man. I love it. So I can be like, Sean, do this Gandhi piece, do this fucking other piece, please.
Right? And he's going to give you his best work.
But Sean is when we're talking. I was like, okay, Sean, what are we doing? Tupac?
Yeah. What's next? Yeah, Tupac, right?
Tupac.
Let's do Tupac.
All right, Tupac.
On this arm.
On this arm.
Yeah.
It's going up back.
Yeah, I've been even other styles outside of real. I mean, my heart's in realism, but other styles of tattooing outside of that have been. I was just showing Joshua an individual. It's based in Portland.
Oh yeah,
goes by Winston the Whale. I'm not
Winston
exactly sure.
Shout out to Winston the Whale.
All right, that's a pretty dope name.
I don't know him. I don't know anything about him.
Big blubbery cock.
I follow him on Instagram, and he just has an ill style that's applied.
Oh yeah,
solid. Just an absolute.
I'm gonna have to follow him.
Yeah, I
at
would,
least
it might not be everybody's thing, but it's.
Solid dude. It's funny because I followed some Oregon fucking rancher or something. I noticed his shit, and he had a cool IG page yesterday. I noticed, and I was like, "Oh, follow you."
Yeah,
fucking, he's from like Prineville or
it's
something.
Just like we talked about with this glass. Like, I don't really care what it is. I don't care what style of tattooing it is. If it's clean, if it's done well, I respect it. Yeah, it might not be what I would necessarily get, but I fucking. You know what I mean? Anybody who puts their heart into their craft. When we first moved here, Sean went and got his hair cut by like a professional barber, and he came home and he was talking about that. He's like, when the guy was doing the fade, like he cared, like he was like like using a Magnum on, you know what I mean? He remember that impressed you, and it's like I could watch a documentary on like Tootsie Rolls because it's like I'm interested in this is how did this all come about? Oh, yeah. How did someone have this idea?
Somebody's hand making dope ass Tootsie Rolls.
Yeah. Please send them our way.
It's a beautiful thing to watch.
So let's jump into that conspiracy theory stuff because that's kind of essentially what the sleeve's about. The sleeve that I've had Sean do, and then you even with the Tesla.
Yeah.
And this is our 6th episode, and like I was just said to you guys when we talked about this being the 6th episode before we start recording, 6 is a very symbolic number. It goes back to like pre biblical times as being the main symbol of the Masons, mm-hmm. and whatever societies were running the cultures and society at that secret societies running actual main global societies at that time. And it stems back to the capital letter G. So when you see the G on like in the triangle in Masonic symbols, that's the symbol for God. Mm-hmm. And in God we trust, which is on our dollar bill, and that symbol as well, along with the pyramids, which are all just symbols of control, knowledge, and power.
Right.
And so we buy into this system every fucking day. You know what I'm saying? in everything that we do, when you use a dollar bill, when you use a 5, a 20, when you're using your ATM card, your debit card, your Visa, whatever it is, we're buying into this system. We're participating in the matrix, and that's a part of when Neo talks about, or the Oracle tells Neo, it's not about predestiny, it's about choice. You know what I'm saying? And Morpheus tells him that everybody that's in the matrix participates in the matrix, even out on a subconscious level. But that's how you are, and if you are, you're plugged in. And anybody who's plugged in will fight to maintain the fucking system, because that's what they know and that's what they are maintained with. So just imagine, and so for metaphorically, imagine if tomorrow you went to go buy your coffee, your ATM, your fucking card didn't work. And they were like, oh shit, the machine's just dropped off. There's absolutely no way we can use your card. Our fucking machines aren't working right now. You're like, okay, well, here's some cash. No. You don't understand. Our machine won't work. We can't even tally anything, blah, blah, blah. We can't even take that paper from you. You can't get your coffee. Now you can't get your fucking Taco Bell or your food or whatever it is that people sustain themselves on a day-to-day basis. How many people have? I just cleaned out my freezer today and threw out some short ribs and fucking front rump roast and some other package of meat that was over 2 years old that I got from a local rancher buddy of mine that I didn't eat. And I told him I was just some other hamburger too, but I didn't eat. This is just way too much fucking meat for me to cook up by myself, and it went bad, and I felt horrible about it. So it was a sad, guilty session of throwing the shit away. But I have fucking food stored up. How many people don't? How many people don't even have pot pies? You know what I'm saying? They're just living by whatever fucking meal to meal, paycheck to paycheck. Well, if we shut all that shit down, if that shit just shut down, if that just that little facet of that helps society continue, that just keeps the wheels going, that helps everybody fucking get what they need to get from day to day to day, or at least what they think they need to get. Because I was talking about how we're consumers and how we consume like a motherfucker, and that goes along with our phones spying on us, and how they help us consume shit. Well, a lot of times we don't need shit. I don't need 3 sets of sunglasses.
Right.
I don't need fucking 8 pairs of shoes. I don't need 6 different fucking tank tops. You know what I'm saying? I don't need all of this. I don't need all these badass motherfucking tattoos, dog.
Right. Well, it's just like when I started eating right. I don't need 6 meals a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're just constantly looking for that comfort zone.
Yeah, you don't need those tacos at fucking 3 a.m.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You're looking for something to satisfy you, to get you through this moment, because you're not living in really harmony with the universe going, okay, I'm fucking just blissfully happy right now. You know what I'm saying? And so many people in the society aren't blissfully happy. And there's a reason for that. It's not a fucking blissfully fucking conducive society to make you just be like, oh yes, I'm in a utopia. I'm in heaven. It's not. It's fucking hell on earth. Sure. This is for those people who are still struggling with the concepts of heaven and hell, afterlife, and all that stuff. I can break it down to you real easily. It's heaven is a potential for how we could live here on earth. It's just a metaphor. And then hell is exactly how we're existing now. Hell is being disconnected from each other on a level where we don't have telepathy, where we don't have the ability to feel each other's emotions without really understanding and owning those. You can tell me how you feel, but I'm not going to connect with that unless I really want to. Unless maybe in some weed would help, or some good hallucinogens or some other thing. I mean, you can take ayahuasca, but that's what when you start getting into these other perceptional, realms where you're actually feeling what the fuck's going on around you, feeling what's in your heart, feeling what's in Sean's heart, what's in his brain, understanding where he's coming from, because I can feel what it is like to be him on a global level. Without that, we are detached. We are estranged. We're disconnected. And that's how the easiest way to conquer is to divide from self. So that's what they've done. They've kept these societies, these motherfuckers with a capital G, raining down symbols generation after generation, showing their power, establishing economic systems for existing, and systems of slavery, because we have to fucking produce things to get these other things, and then
Right.
we have to do these other things, and then people have to produce those things that we can consume. And so it's just, but if we can't see those motherfuckers and how poorly they're living, then it doesn't really affect me. I don't have to feel so guilty about getting a new iPhone, even though it's only cost me $1,000. It's going to cost $4,000 essentially, and
Right.
maybe 3 years of some poor bastard's life across the goddamn globe,
Right.
and the carbon foot, but I don't have to feel that because I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? And thank God that Apple put up those suicide nets, so there's not pictures of the motherfuckers splattered all over the goddamn
Right.
ground around there. So I really don't have to feel it that heavily anymore. So I'm that much more detached. But at the same time, I feel like a piece of shit when I break it down like that, and that's reality. And I should feel like a piece of shit, because when you understand that I understand, at least I feel for myself, that I'm participating in this system that really has evil fucking designs and ends. Because if the way I look at it, it's like they've set out the game plan before. It's in the Bible, it's in all the other religious manuscripts. Society gets to this point, and then shit's just really hectic and chaotic, and there's battles between these factions and this faction, and then there's a Messiah's gonna come back, and then shit just falls apart, and people just die, and it's gotta start over. It's gonna end, and it's gonna start over,
Which it's been doing.
which it's been doing.
Yeah.
Well, motherfuckers are engineering that. That's been engineered. That's totally designed from start to finish. Every fucking facet of that has been factored and quantified and graphed and charted, planned out, and executed to a T, and over and over and over. And that's what we fucking exist in. And so it's just trying to wake up from that shit. You know what I'm saying? Wake up from this motherfucking dream we're in, where we're like, oh yeah, well this isn't the fucking real life. Real life is heaven afterlife. And then no, motherfucker, we could be in heaven right now if we just shut down all these motherfucking factories. They're producing a bunch of bullshit that we don't need. We started eating healthily, started diverting resources to the right places, getting agriculture produced the right way, instead of having all these other fucking things going on, instead of having Monsanto monopolize all this shit. Give fucking rights to the people that can grow food, to produce food for people, house people in the right ways. There's so many abilities to house people as is, and China has cities on cities on cities that are unpopulated right now that can house millions of fucking people. So they're talking about overcrowding and all that. Distribute those people.
Right.
Fucking reset up your fucking farming over there. Start cleaning your water sources. Get desalination plants. Start getting on fucking better pollution disposal. Start getting on better renewable fucking energy sources. I mean, the technology, Tesla goddamn technology is there, dog.
Right.
So these mechanisms
ago, yeah.
that are fucking, set up to keep this shit like caveman goddamn shit are the major conspiracies that I like to fucking point at.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I want to go, fuck you,
Yeah.
Big G. You know what I mean?
And all of that seems very logical and legitimate to me. Where I get lost in it, and Sean King and I were talking about this earlier, is sometimes, not everybody, certainly not you and not Sean, but sometimes people will believe every conspiracy.
Oh, yeah.
It's like nothing bad's ever happened in the world. It's all a conspiracy. You know what I mean?
Some
Every
people
time,
have no filter.
yeah, it's like all I ever want to do, like you'll hear me say a lot of the times, like, wow, if that's true, that's terrible. Like, if the information that you're giving me is true, then that is terrible. Like, but I have a hard time believing that every celebrity death, shit does happen. That's bad sometimes.
Yeah.
It just does. You know what I mean? And one of the things that Sean and I were talking about earlier, and that gets really heavy, is flat Earth. You know what I mean? And like, Sean's been kind of studying both sides of that, it sounds like, and has some theories on it and stuff. Like, I personally do not believe the Earth is flat, but I know that people do, and they have their reasons. Mm-hmm. And you see that's I think it's Steven Crowder, where he's like, there's only two sexes, change my mind or whatever. I would love to sit down someday with somebody and have them change my mind on, well, why are you so certain the Earth is flat?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I could also, why am I so certain the Earth isn't flat?
Well, there's
You know what
several.
I'm saying?
I
So-
just watched something on Netflix, which it was OPB thing, but they just talked about the artillery shot in World War One, and artillery was the number one cause of death in World War One. It killed more soldiers than anything else, and they had to factor in the rotation of the Earth when they lobbed artillery shells.
Really?
Yes. That was,
Interesting.
they were super accurate. They could get them fucking, but they would launch them so high and from so far away that they literally had to work. I mean, when you talk to super smart motherfuckers, they start breaking down rotation of, and it makes sense. I mean, if you understand science and everything, I mean, the basics of the science that we do know, and it is fucked up because when you're talking about, well, we are just cavemen because we're on caveman technologies and all this thing. Yes, we have been retarded as a society. We have had and by retard, I mean our mental capacities and our ability to use all of our mental function. If we've even functioned at 10% of our actual capacity, if that's retarded. If our ability is beyond that, you know what I'm saying? And people are like, well, you have seizures beyond that. No, you don't. Some people might, and maybe when they're having a seizure, it's all of the brains are firing at once, but that's because their brain isn't designed and set up to fucking fire at the right frequencies. If your brain was, and it was programmed to do that shit right, and your DNA was there to support it, and your fucking body was, and you were on the right fuel and on the right shit, right. You fucking doing telepathy and goddamn telekinesis. So that's what I mean, and I've thought that ever since I was a young kid. I was like, we are not getting smarter as a society. We're not evolving. We're de-evolving. We are retarding ourselves from the elevation in evolution that we should have, or at least from not even from evolution, from what our potential is. And I think that's happened more and more. And I think that's along with the fucking metaphors from the Matrix. This is the 6th version. Yeah, there have been, and there's total fucking evidence of that. Different forms of humanoids on Earth, and we're not talking about motherfucking chromio, you know, like motherfucking Neanderthals and all this shit. We're talking about Randy Marsh Neanderthals. We're talking about humanoids and hominids that are only maybe 250,000 years old, like going back into the fossil records and being dated like that, and with the evidence around them, and like the tools and things that are in their vicinities and stuff. You're talking about people that had the ability to do at least basic fucking tasks and beyond what chimpanzees and other things can do that we know of, and actually live and exist and, you know, perform complex tasks. And all the way up to modern motherfucking humans and Bruce Lee and all sorts of other bad motherfuckers, Pai Mei, you know? And that's what I'm saying. Like, I believe in Pai. I believe that that's why I get frustrated when I hear about, you know, Joe Rogan talking about, well, John Jones is the best martial artist of all fucking time, right? I mean, just deadliest, baddest motherfucker. I mean, there's never been a guy more dangerous. No, dude, there's a fucking Asian dude in China who's probably goddamn 173 years old, who nobody knows about, because he hangs out and he don't talk about his age and shit, and he could fucking poke you in the ribs and make your heart explode, dog. There's motherfuckers out there that are that, like, so knowledgeable about shit. Right. They could hit you so hard. There's this one dude who was an Asian guy in Canada. He was one of the baddest, like, 8th degree black belt motherfuckers ever. I ever saw a documentary on him in the 90s. And my dad knew somebody that knew him well. And this guy punched a steel block 3,000 times every day. Steel block.
I saw something about
punched
that guy.
It. Just punched. And it wasn't like he didn't punch it more than like it was. It was on his table or on his countertop, and he'd just go pop, 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 pop.
Just strengthening that.
He was punching it. Maybe 40% of his potential, maybe 20% of his potential, whatever. It wasn't like Raja. It's a steel fucking.
Yeah.
It's an anvil. So he's punching that every day. He said if he punched a man with anything over 40% of his strength, he would kill them.
Wow.
I mean, and there was no brag. He wasn't, he wasn't trying to be like, yeah, I'm the baddest. He never claimed to be the most deadly man. He never claimed to be. He just said if I punch somebody with 60% of my strength, they'd die.
Right. The thing I saw said that he was doing tiny fractures in the bones.
Oh, he had fractured over decades and decades, to the point where
it became denser.
You're talking about like Wolverine, Weapon X type motherfucking arms, dog. He just didn't have the claws, but if he punched you and got you in a headshot, you're dead. He's a fucking one-punch Mickey. He's a motherfucking Pikey. He's a goddamn Brad Pitt from Snatch, dude. There's guys out there. There are guys out there who are so kinetically fucking gifted and so aware and so skilled at striking and just built right that they got the right lever, and if they hit you with the right tech, you're dead. It happens to goons. Happens to dudes at the bar all the fucking time. Dudes hit guys hard enough to kill them.
Yeah.
It's not a fucking crazy phenomenon. It's not like, oh my god, he was the strongest dude. Dude punched a guy and killed him. It's easy to do. You hit somebody's brain hard enough, it's gonna shut off. All it is the fucking brain in there. It depends if they're really dehydrated at the bar. It's that much easier. You know, fucking if they got no cushion in there.
If they hit their head on the way down,
Yeah.
Seen that.
But no, there's actual guys who have actually not even, the dudes haven't even hit their head on it. It was the actual punch that killed them. Yeah. So that exists, dude, and I have total faith that there's badass motherfuckers out there. So that's what I'm saying. Just because you ain't fucking in the UFC, you know what I'm saying, doesn't mean you're not the baddest motherfucker. And it's all subjective. But you know what I mean? When it push comes to shove, if you can kill somebody with a punch, or at least destroy their balls with a kick, you know what I mean, to the point where they can't reproduce.
Yeah, just because they're not on TV doesn't mean they don't exist.
And just because you don't know about them, just like the Rothschilds don't flaunt their fucking
right, exactly. Like whenever there's the Fortune 500, you're, like the real rich people aren't on that fucking list.
The
at
trillionaires
all.
aren't on the. Yeah, they don't put the Catholic Church on the fucking list.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, they were. Ted Nugent was. I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast.
I did too. Yeah,
that was such a good one, dude.
Yeah.
Him just talking about the church having $8 trillion in jewels. You know, it's like, yeah, they do. They really do. And it's ridiculous. But you know, when you're talking about wealth, you have to have the right perspective.
Wasn't it your daughter that was asking you why God needed so much money? Yeah.
Well, and so what do you guys feel about, because this is beyond conspiracy, this is into like individual stuff, as I still have deal with like, well, why does the church have so much power? And when it comes to like demonology and their ability, like when you talk about fucking exorcism and, you know, exorcising demons and shit like that, because I do believe in demons, but it's like, did the church just figure out the right source of like fucking set of words to be able to fucking, is it Latin? Because Latin, a lot of people don't understand, Latin is a very powerful language. It's why most of history that is documented, and for the longest time, if you wanted to be an educated citizen, you had to know Latin. You had to be, I mean, that's what everything was taught in, was Latin. The trivium and quadrivium, the 7 liberal arts, was taught in Latin, and you had to be well versed if you wanted to be an actual citizen. And the slaves spoke other languages. Our modern form of English was created by a Saxon king. In the I think in the 10th century, 9th or 10th century developed, and also the whole written literature part of it. But it was a form of bastardized fucking communication that was already in kind of being used, and they wanted to just basically have a nice uniform like slave language, something that was really easy to talk but had no real basis for conceptual development or cognitive growth. So something that's not really going to spark a lot of intellectual growth. You can just, you know, it's nice. We have rock. You have rock. Okay, let's go play with rock, or throw rock, or use rock, kill meat. Right. So instead of going, you know, using characters and using specific inflections and other things, other tones, like other things that actually develop parts of the brain. Yeah. Just like Chinese. The Chinese language, or Mandarin, is one of the best motherfucking, Jesus Christ, or Cantonese, but Mandarin's amazing, and all the characters are used so well to like develop all these different cognitive functions, and it fires their brain in completely different ways than our brains fire. Absolutely. And that's why they're so much better at math, is because their characters are so much easier for their brains to translate into, you know, like just, well, the math equations break down so much easier, just so much more similar to like their characters. So it's more like reading than doing a fucking problem for them. Yeah. And because I dated this super brilliant fucking fat bootied white girl who was in advanced mathematics at the U of O. And she was like, what the I didn't know they had white people in that shit. And she goes, I'm the only one. I am the only one there. It's a bunch of Asians. There's a couple of fucking nerdy dudes and me. And I was like, well, good for you. But she was a vegan, cigarette smoking, alcohol drinking vegan as well. And I was just like, I like the brains and I like the butt, but I can't hang with that vegan, all that other shit. And she was the one who broke a lot of that stuff down, and it just makes sense. And I've heard other stuff, on Rogan's podcast and how but those are the differences between societies, and that's the difference between languages and why we are different. I mean, those are the differences. It's not the skin to me.
No, that's
it's
interesting.
It's not the blood. It's the way that
they're thinking differently.
Developed our thinking and how we've been separated. So our thought processes are so much fucking different and diverged so much differently over the years and millennia from the other peoples around the society. So when you go, well, you're different. Yeah, those are the differences. We all won, but we have some differences. So let's fucking just recognize that shit.
Yeah.
And that is if we could recognize that stuff and stop going to war, stop this fucking religious bullshit. Oh, well, my guy's the guy. Your guy's the guy. Guess what? Everybody's got a guy.
Right.
Everybody got their own personal Jesus. You know what I mean? Fucking go listen to that motherfucking dude. Like 9 Inch Nails hit that shit on the nail, and then Johnny Cash really sang it right. And own personal Jesus, man. It could be heroin, it could be chronic, could be Jesus, could be motherfucking Buddha, could be whatever you want, man. Whatever gets you through the day, whatever helps you.
Ribs.
Could be motherfucking macchiato.
My own personal ribs.
But that's the thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's we have the potential to be able to live in this in a heaven. If we all had food and we all had what we needed and we all had respect and there wasn't oppression, and we took out the motherfucking psychos because they're psychos, and if you eliminate them or at least house them away or get them
there's definitely some people who just they're not meant to be.
Yeah. Some are just the worst of the worst. And a lot of that goes through conditioning, And so, I mean, if we can eliminate a lot of that mental health shit would get cleared up and stuff. But we're talking about you'd have to completely restart the goddamn system.
Oh, yeah.
And that shit ain't going to happen, man, unless the motherfucking engineers at the top want it to happen. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see it in our lifetime, but it's...
Homie,
You know.
I don't know.
I imagine it's going to get real bad before it
Put
gets
your
real
sunglasses on because that's going to be a bright motherfucker,
Yeah,
dog.
yeah.
It's going to be illumination.
Yeah.
I don't know. And that's where the Illuminati, a lot of people don't know, but Illuminati just means illuminated with truth.
Sure.
And so when, there's a dark side of the Illuminati, there was a light side of the Illuminati, the ones that were like the Oracle from the Matrix, that would be the light side of the Illuminati, the illuminate. And so if you want to think about that, and this is where it really gets fucking crazy because
Do they only point out celebrities that are in the dark Illuminati, or is like Kenny Rogers in the light one?
I
really like to think he's in the light one.
Kenny's in the light one for sure, dog.
I'll feel better.
Hell yeah. Check that condition, son. and bring me some motherfucking chicken.
I wouldn't have known.
But yeah,
how to hold them or fold them.
if you have the potential to have heaven on earth, and you tell everybody, well, no, it's not heaven on earth. There is no heaven on earth. That's bullshit. Heaven is this place after life, and blah blah blah. And there's this thing, Jesus Christ, who actually runs that. Well, him and his father run that, but he might bring heaven back to earth. But if he does, that's gonna get real crazy and all this shit. It's like, well, dude, so you're setting up that paradigm. That's the paradigm. No potential for heaven, Hell is other than this too. This is just life. And hell is if you do really bad, you go to hell, and that's when shit's fucked up. Well, the ones who are in charge, who set up this paradigm, are doing really bad. That's an evil paradigm.
Sure, yeah.
To fucking eliminate the ability to live in a utopia now, and to create up this structure of division and separation, and then ultimate grief from that, and then the strife from the conflicts between, and all of that confusion. That is just pure fucking hurt. When you don't feel the connection to the love like you could from worshiping a real deity like the earth, or something that's has a true power, or anything. It could be fucking food. It could be whatever you want. Sex brings life, and people die. But in between, you have sex, and it's the shit. So with that, if that's the paradigm, heaven is, after, and hell is after, and right now is just this. but Jesus is the God and all that, and he's the right one and everything. I'm like, dude, that's some bullshit to me. That sounds more like that sounds like Antichrist.
Sure.
That sounds like Antichrist. Don't pay attention to now. Don't be good now. Don't take care of the earth now. Don't take care of your fellow animals now. Don't take care of your fellow humans now. Don't be humane. Don't be human. Don't be God like yourself and try to share creativity and love. Let's destroy, let's ignore, let's, fucking be tuned out. So that sounds like Antichrist to me. So if that's Antichrist and the devil is the bad guy, right? Mm-hmm. And he's the illuminated one. He was the morning star, Lucifer, the morning star, the bringer of light.
Definitely the bringer of the best music.
The illuminated one is that's what they talk about, right? So Lucifer. I want this motherfucker to come, dude. If he's the opposite of this Antichrist as I see it, then he's the Christ. The illuminated one is the shit, dog. He's the one going to come and bring the truth. This is what's really going on. Everybody, this is what's really going on. You want to know what's going on? These motherfuckers set up this motherfucking banking system. They're evil as fuck. They set up this whole shit with motherfucking debt and everything. This motherfucking church over here, they're fucking your kids. They've been fucking your kids forever. Plus, there ain't no real shit going on. I mean, is there proof that there's some shit going on? What the fuck? He just wears his hat. That's just the fucking symbol of power. There you go. All the other stuff that's going on, all this other famine and everything that's engineered over here. Well, we can move all these motherfuckers over here to this other place that's really actually got some fertile land going on. We can take care of that. All the diseases that we've actually created. Yeah, we'll stop creating those. And here's some cures. We've had those in the fridge for fucking 800 years. We just bring them out and then fucking release them and then we fucking take them away. All this shit. Mm-hmm. You take those motherfuckers out and we got a potential to actually live in a utopia, in an Eden, in a heaven.
That does make sense.
So if that illuminated motherfucker wants to come through and shine on some glory, bruh, I'm going to be up at the front of the stage. Yeah, no. See, I like to party, so I like my Antichrist to party.
He's going to have corduroy in a jean jacket.
Dude, and hopefully that motherfucker will touch me. Hopefully he'll touch me, and I'll grow a whole badass mop of hair. You know what I mean? And I bestow my miracle unto you, my son. Dude, and
I'm trying to picture you with hair now.
Homie, if I had... This is my whole... So, my ideal set of hair, right? Vegeta. From Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
I mean, like literally, like if I could
pulling for '60s Michael Caine.
No, homie, I'm talking like I would have like a fucking dome. The tip of my shit would be up here like this, and it would be like, and it would be like a black crown, dog. Everywhere I went, I'd have to duck through every fucking doorway, dog.
Yeah, you're already too tall.
It would be my fucking biggest pleasure to just shine that shit everywhere I went. Dogs, everybody would be like, what the fuck is that? Dude, that's my homie Sean. Yeah, homie with the Antichrist.
I get a dollar response with this.
I would be looking like Rasputin.
Yeah.
Like the motherfucking... Maybe that's what he did. Maybe that's what he had under that goddamn big-ass motherfucking muskrat hat he had on and shit. You know what I mean? That dude was a furry motherfucker. And he was like, dude, just give me some fur, bro. Just make sure this never stops growing, okay? I just need to have this on lock. And the dude was like, okay, dog.
I only have the pictures of him to go by, but I'd trust him with my kids.
I feel like you could be on a fucking... Like your image right now could be on a bottle of some fucking ale brew. And as long as it was in like a dark bottle with like a black label and some gold fucking filigree around it, it could go right next to a Rasputin. And everybody would be grabbing the Sean King brew.
We need to do that Rasputin tattoo on you.
Gross.
Or we could just go start sticking little stickers of his right over the Rasputin one. But he's got his glasses on and shit. And they're like, did Rasputin wear glasses?
He must have.
Did Rasputin wrestle in high school?
He looks like a smart motherfucker.
That's my rap name, Rapsputin.
Dude, I love that Rasputin shit growing up. I mean, those are the things like that always sparked my fucking, okay, there's something else going on. That's what I mean by like, exorcisms and things like that. When you talk about dudes that either just channel other energy, that just know other shit, because there's no saying that like he really was a demon or he was in league with fucking a dark, but the dude had a force about him that
fuck
was
yeah.
reported to be supernatural.
Absolutely. Even the way you
And even my fourth grade teacher told me that shit. I remember Mr. Dunn.
He just looks like it. Like, I don't know.
Is that why you go for that look? Is that
I'm just saying from photos.
No, he had a fucking look, but no, his charisma was off the charts. Supposedly, the dude was.
Yeah.
I mean, so I guess
I think Sean's. We've talked about tattooing Rasputin on you. I'd be totally down to do it.
I bet,
There are like 3 references. So.
Yeah.
dude, and that's not a bad brew. Have you had that one?
No.
It's the same company makes Prankster Ale, I think, and it's that Prankster's a pretty good.
I've seen the prankster.
that Rasputin will fuck you up, dude. It's kind of like a chewy one.
Well, I know that Sean and I unfortunately have a hard out. We have band practice coming up, so we probably ought to
All right.
wrap it soon.
Well,
Is that still?
It's still going.
Okay, cool.
I'm glad that we actually got to do a little conspiracy talk. That was
Yeah, I'd like to have you back at some point and get a little bit of your flat Earth stuff. I'm interested in hearing anybody's take on.
Sean's.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, in all honesty,
just give us 3 minutes of it, real quick.
Okay. Just looking up conspiracy theory in general. That's just
It's easy to go down a rabbit hole.
That's the next one I stumbled across, and there seems to be a lot of video, a lot of information on both sides of this. And what I'm using this whole thing for is not necessarily, I don't have a belief necessarily that the Earth is flat.
We're not saying you're retarded because you've chosen something, dude.
No, I haven't chosen.
Sweet. Sorry, we got cut off real quick, and we're gonna bring Sean back on to talk about the flat Earth investigations he's been doing himself.
I don't know if that's entirely accurate as for investigations specifically for flat Earth. What it is I don't believe anything I see on television. I don't believe anything I mean, I'm so skeptical of everything that I do conspiracy theory. I kind of look into some of them just for fun. And I'm just naturally skeptical about everything. And,
As you should be.
And flat Earth was just one of them that I stumbled across next. I can't remember what was before it. I'm sure it was the Vegas shootings or 9/11. But it was just the flat Earth was the next one that I'm kind of in my mind debating and more gathering info and that sort of thing. And I've honestly. I've seen decent arguments from both sides on that, and I've seen bad arguments from both sides on that, and I guess it's more of a weighing evidence thing. I'm not an astrophysicist. I'm not a mathematician. I'm not a really good scientist. I'm just trying to understand with the tools that I have as for what I see, what I feel, what I can understand, what I can wrap my brain around in these sorts of things. And so I weigh this evidence out. It's a little fun for me, honestly.
I hope so.
It's more about the evidence and weighing it out and just seeing why, because like I said, I think on all of these things I've seen decent arguments from every angle, or it probably wouldn't even be there.
Well, give me some of the stuff that has leaned you either way, or that you think is the best evidence on both sides.
Well, some things that have struck me personally as for something that made sense to me. I've never been to space, so I can't say I've seen anything like that. Only video showing me, only photos, things that could technically be, falsified or whatever. Joshua and I flew back last year from Germany to Denver, and we arced way over Iceland, and we were not. It was not as the crow flies.
Oh, I've flown to Europe too. I know.
And in one of these videos, they showed this kind of disc laid out with flight paths.
Yeah,
and you could have put a ruler between Denver and Germany. It was our flight path. It went right where we went.
Yeah,
but there was no arc to it. It was straight line. That was something that just from what I know of, because I didn't understand why we were flying that path.
Yeah,
I remember you mentioning
at all. Flight, I'm like, we are going like way
it visually didn't make any sense to you. Yeah, I've seen. Yeah. I remember.
And that was just something that what I noticed happening aligned with something that they had talked about, and it was kind of one of those. Ever notice when this happens, and that, and then one of the things that stuck out to me too were the pictures I saw of the globes that NASA posts from the different years that they've taken these pictures, and they're grossly different. I mean, they're grossly different. And then just a couple of weird things being said during one of Obama's speeches. He was talking about flying. By the end of the decade or something, we could be flying past the lower atmosphere.
And there's
I was told that happened in like 1967, and way past these radiation belts.
Isn't that Room 237? The documentary on The Shining.
Yes.
About Stanley Kubrick, or not? It's not Stanley.
Yeah,
it is.
It was Stanley Kubrick.
I mean, the guy only had an IQ of 200, and he was a decent cinematographer. So he was able to tell a little bit of a tale about something that he perceived and wanted to be told with the movie The Shining. And the only reason why people validate that is because Stephen King was livid that dude took so many liberal fucking liberties with that movie, because he's like, it's not like the goddamn book. Yeah. And there's all of these sequences and things in it that are symbolic for whatever you want to take it as. But if you watch that documentary, and I think it's on Netflix, you can take a lot away from that. But
it goes into it. That's a
it seemed like it was
documentary about that movie.
Yeah, and a lot of Stephen King stuff is the symbolism of the genocides of the Native Americans, and I think Stanley Kubrick definitely tied that in well with the theme and everything. And of course, every single Jewish critic who was in that documentary said, well, it was about the Jews and the genocide of the Jews and the Holocaust of the, and it's like,
what even is?
Yeah, because that happened in Colorado, right? Because that happened in the Western United States, right? Because that had fucking spiritual powers tied to the earth, right? No, we're talking. Of course, that everybody wanted to tie it to that, but it was cool that they brought so many different perspectives in. And they all kind of talked about how the symbolism of faking the moon landing.
Yeah.
Why do you do that? And there's another conspiracy that I've thought about for a long time, man.
That one had a couple points that made me go, well,
are we limited from leaving the atmosphere? Are we? Is it something to do with our souls? Is it something to do with our DNA? Is it something that we're just fucking this is our fucking cage. We're not allowed to escape. Our energy and our fucking DNA and everything has to stay here on this plane until something comes to harvest us. What is it? What the fuck is what's the deal? Can we go and linger out in the thingy where there's no anything? It's just a vacuum. There's no oxygen. There's no gravity. There's no, it's just blank fucking cold space, and then come back? Or is that even out there? All these things are really fucking fun concepts. Do we live in the fucking eye of a blue-eyed giant named Macumba? It's, what's really going on? Well, it's all about perspective, and you never know. Maybe you guys were avoiding the motherfucking the place where they, where those fools from the village live, and they can't have no motherfucking flight path over it. There's all sorts of reasons that you can't fly over tons of military motherfucking bases. Yeah. I mean, talk about how many people don't know how many hidden military bases there are. There's several of them here in Oregon that are insanely fucking well structured. So
when I was in Boise putting that convention on, a couple of tattoo artists were late, and I'm like, what happened? And they said they drove by a military site. They saw a sign that said, if you enter this, you're going to be, followed by the military. For some dumb reason, they went in, and immediately a drone shot up out of the fucking sand, fucking following. I'm like, how big was it? Because I fly drones, and a big drone, fucking guns on it, fucking zipped off. Like, they're fucking lucky they fucking showed up.
Dumbasses.
Fucking Boston Nick.
Yeah. Sorry, bros, but I mean,
look
come
out!
on,
It's the
watch the
Ami.
signs, dog. Watch the signs. It ain't gonna be long until that motherfucking drone just decides to shoot your ass because you were dumb, and it's like, okay, well, we're gonna help this Darwin process out. Process of elimination. Hey, they was.
That's exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Dude, I love it. I love thinking about all that stuff too. Yeah. But
I guess for me, it's not so much that I'm going hard with a lot of these theories, because I do realize that any information I get is third, fourth, fifth, 100th hand information. This is all, I have no way to, and like I said, it helps me examine, or helps me to examine what I think and what I feel and what I know.
Yeah, dude.
As opposed to blindly what I'm told.
Yeah.
I like asking questions, and it's not that I'm not on the path of some deep-rooted, I don't know.
Oh, none of us really do. Otherwise, we'd be like, I fucking know, dog. This is what it is. And then y'all are stupid because you don't know yet, and that's what's up.
Yeah.
And I'm over here smart as shit.
Yeah, and I'm just, if something sticks out to me, I ask a question about it.
It's good to be curious. Why does it look like I should be going right here, but we go, yeah, what the fuck is this shit? Because this costs money, and I don't like being up in this motherfucker all the time, man. I want to be on the ground. I want to smoke some weed. I want to stretch my legs, and this is some bullshit. And what's up with that flight plan, man?
I'm willing to bet that there could easily be a very easy explainable answer that I'm just unaware of,
dude. And we don't know.
Could be, and then even anything else that would, kind of struck me as, that's odd. I can't say that I know any of this. I wish I could.
This is how stupid my monkey brain works. I still trip out when I see an image inverted. So when somebody's like, they take a pic and it's like, oh, it's motherfucking like this. And then they flip it. So it's like the opposite, it's just that. But I'm like, my brain's like, why? What? How? What? How? What? What the fuck is that? Right. You just you faked and flipped an image. You flipped my brain. you flipped me for real.
Brain went.
Seriously, I feel like fucking Fenster from goddamn Usual Suspects, man. He flipped me for real. Like it's one of, but I'm not. It always trips me out. It takes me a half a second to go, what the fuck? That wasn't like that. This was like, because I remember being there. Unless my dumb brain don't remember and remembers it different. But this, fuck you, bitch, for inverting that. You lying. You lying. So, anyways, I'm just saying, there's perceptual things for us can always be a trick, and then it's always just also how you're conditioned. They say if you how you look at a magnifying glass. If you look at a magnifying glass through the world, hold it up to your eyes, and if you had two of them over your eyes, everything is inverted. Right. And if you did that for 3 days, after the third day, your brain fucking flips that image, and that's how you see the world now.
Doing it.
So you can rewire your fucking brain. You can rewire your brain. Dude, this is just funky ass programming of a human dome and how to perceive the world around you. Yeah. And that's what's up, man. 3 days. So you can completely flip somebody's fucking perception. 100% literally flip their perception. Wow. So on that note, thank you for sharing the flat earth shit. I don't fucking know, bro. All I know is if it is flat, I hope somebody don't take that bitch and flip it upside down. You know what I mean? Just like Mac trying to flip the goddamn fucking, what is that? Charlie McDennis board. Remember they nailed that fucking board down? We have to nail it down because Mac always tries to flip the motherfucker. And on that note, thanks for joining us on the sixth episode of the podcast.
Oh, not a problem at all.
Sean, you're the shit. Joshua, you're the shit. You guys are killing it. You sexy minxes. And we're going to try to start getting these done more often because now you're in town.
Well, I'm going to Indiana in a couple days, but yeah, it's
more often than once a month.
It's getting better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm finding now that
Now that Boise is out of the way and Evergreen's 8 months, I've got I just came through my busiest time of the year, so it should get a little more regular now. So thanks for sticking it in there, guys.
It's air conditioned in here, so we like being in the studio.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, have a great day.
Thanks a lot, guys.